Hey, good morning, everybody. Dr. Frank Kern here, attorney at law, chief engineer with NASA, retired. And look at this, we're using the webinar jam today. And I have kind of forgotten how to use this thing. I usually have some help here. So if you'll just sort of give me a minute to refamiliarize myself with the controls. Look at there. Hey, y'all. Good morning. Okay, I just turned the camera on. Good thing I'm dressed somewhat respectably. We are live, by the way. Today is the second. I keep thinking it's New Year's Day still. The 2nd of January, Monday is, I think, 10 o'clock in the morning. Let's see here. Yes, it is exactly 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to turn this camera off. I'm from my home office here, and I don't want to kill our bandwidth. I think we've got probably like a little 30-second delay here. So I don't think you can tell the delay, but I can. So let's see here. I want to show you guys which screen here. Why don't you guys be cool to me? Not y'all, by the way. I'm talking to Webinar Jam. I've got two screens. I'm trying to share my screen with you. Bear with me here. Do I want to share the screen or the application? Oh, no way. I can just show the application window. That is amazing. Okay. So you should now see like some slides and stuff on your screen. I haven't made it full screen yet. Would you let me know if you can see that, please? Thank you very much. And I know it's going to take a little bit for Google Hangouts to catch up with us, but if someone will let me know if you can see the, oh, wait a minute, I need to present this to everyone. Duh, okay. If you can see that screens there, if you can see my slides, let me know, please. I'll let the little delay here get it together. Thank you all very much for your kind words, by the way. Good Lord, this is insane. So many people are on here right now. This is nuts. No, this is not a recording for whoever asked that. The comments are coming in so quickly. We are totally live. It's 10:02 right now. Oh, my trusty right-hand boss lady, Aurora, says she can see my slides. Okay, sweet. Awesome. And so do y'all. All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's see if I can do this without blowing it up here. What do you think? Let's go ahead and get started, man. All righty. So we'll hit start on here. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to just ask Aurora, if you can hear me, would you text me, or anyone who knows me, text me and just let me know if this thing has gone full screen. So you should see me switching from slide 1 to 2, kind of back and forth. I'm full screen, so I can't see your comments right now, guys, because I pressed full screen on my thingamajigger there. So hang on here. I just want to make sure we're cool. Oh, you cannot see it. Uh-oh. All right. So you don't see my slide. Probably should have practiced this before doing it. Okay, it's done gone blank for y'all. Let's see here. That is strange. Okay, guys, hang on just a minute here. Everybody. Let's see here. Hey, Darren, what's up, man? Oh, wait, so some of y'all can see it. Okay. So some could see it. Some could not. You know what I'll do? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry to do this, to make you do this with me here, but I really want to make sure it works. So you're not going to be staring at a blank screen here. All right, so hang on. I'm going to stop that screen share. Now, you probably don't see my screen anymore. I'll share my entire screen here. And I'll just share the whole screen. There we go. So now you'll see the slides maybe against a background, homies. And now on the other, oh shoot, now that's going to show the wrong one. Dang it. Hang on a minute. Steve says it's all good. All right, now hang on a sec here. Aurora can see the slides again. All right, hang on. So I'm going to press play on this thing, but I think, can you see Aurora or Darren? Thanks, dude, for texting me. Or do y'all see a single slide now or the double slide? You're seeing the double slide, I can tell here. So I need to tell Google Hangouts to show the different screen. That's what it is. All right, homies. That's what it is. It is showing y'all the wrong screen. All right, hang on. Thank you so much. This is to tell you what, this is nothing short of a truly professional presentation. So hang on, let me get out of that there, and I will switch. I know what to do. Bear with me just for a minute. So presenter notes, no. Enter full screen. Come on, guys. Bring on front. Dang it. It's wanting to show you the wrong monitor is what's going on here. All right, let's try that one more time. Probably doing this wrong here. Okay, hang on, homies. I feel like Mariah Carey, right? Like from New Year's Eve when she had the technical difficulty. But this really is. This is how you know it's live, when it like is screwed up. Oh, duh, man. All right, whole time wrong screen. There we go. Okay, present to everybody. Look at this. Blam. Now, homies, tell me if you can see a screen that says why I created this for you. And it should be full screen. Darren or Aurora, someone let me know. That would be awesome. And then we'll get started. Hey, only 5 minutes of technical screw ups here. That's pretty amazing that we only did 5 minutes. But hey, the next one, I'll have it down. Perfect. Okay, I think y'all are good now. All right, let's go. So welcome to today's presentation. So this is a live webinar. I've never taught this before. This is very, very interesting. Today's webinar, I had probably more people register for this just from 2 emails to my list during the holidays. Probably had more people register for this than any webinar I've done in years, which means this is a pretty important topic to people, which is cool. So what we're going to do now is, hang on, I got folks. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Darren. What we're going to do now is I'm going to walk you through some stuff that has really, really worked well for me. So sort of the unofficial title of this is how to reclaim control of your mind. And this is specifically for the entrepreneur. So this is built with entrepreneurial endeavors in mind, and most specifically within that subcategory, people who sell things online. So this is really designed specifically for us, people in our types of business. I think as an entrepreneur, you and I and everyone who is an entrepreneur is essentially in a very hostile environment. People don't like entrepreneurs. They think we're dreamers. They think we're dumb. A lot of times they think we're scammers. A lot of people are generally offended as a whole just because of our desire to turn a profit, and hey, that's okay, whatever. Business is extremely difficult, and we go through probably, as entrepreneurs, more challenges than your average non-entrepreneurial people. So I think it's really, really important for us to sort of figure out a way to excel in that environment and avoid being weirded out at all. So the reason I created this for you is because, well, I'm just really wondering, like, have you ever felt like you were under so much pressure to either meet payroll or meet a financial obligation or whatever that you just kind of froze? You know what I mean? You're like, you're just weirded out and you're stuck. Or have you ever had so many things to do that you're totally overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start? I got to build a landing page, opt-in page, video sales letter, get a merchant account, and, set up automation, and you just like flip out and you don't even know what to do. You're like, I'm stuck, again. Or have you ever actually known exactly what to do and exactly how to do it, but you just could not seem to get the damn thing done? Or have you ever compared yourself to other people and felt like you were way behind? Like, oh man, I should be doing better. So-and-so was very, very successful. I should be doing so much better, blah, 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 And do you feel stressed out and anxious a lot about your business? And do you worry about failure? Do you stay up at night? Oh, what if this doesn't work? What if people speak badly of me or whatever? Well, if you've done any of those things, I have too. So we are together in that. And so has basically everybody else. And the reason I know that is because every other Wednesday, I talk to your fellow marketers during live webinars like these, admittedly without the technical difficulty because I have a team that helps me typically from our video studio. But I talk to your fellow marketers through something I have called the Kern Inner Circle, and I do that every other Wednesday. And here are results that are typical, which I can tell you with zero fear of having to use a disclaimer. And this is based on my own experience and based on me talking to thousands of other entrepreneurs in our type of business. Number one, things will be very, very hard at times, sometimes not, but often really, really difficult. You will definitely experience overwhelm, right? I mean, no question, you're going to have that. You will definitely experience confusion. And on the flip side, things will go really well and you will definitely experience complacency. Oh man, I'll do that later. Everything's cool. We had a pretty good month. I'll coast. Totally normal. Of course, you're going to experience distraction. If you have a smartphone, you're experiencing distraction probably 70% of the time, right? And so I say this because it happens to me. It has happened to me a lot in the past. It's less now. And my members have told me about this. So these are like the primary problems that people experience outside of, technical how-to or whatever. So my intention today, and this is, again, the first time I've ever really taught this, is to basically give you, actually, I won't give it to you. I will give you the tools to give yourself an unshakable confidence that will carry you through challenges and basically help you sell better, help you do business better. Kind of like taking the emergency brake off, so you'll be able to go a little faster. You also have absolute clarity and focus, which will eliminate distraction and overwhelm, so you can get more stuff done and sell more stuff. You won't need to be motivated because you'll be driven. I think motivation is like cocaine. You chop yourself up a great big line of motivation, rail it up the old nostril, and you're super motivated for like 10 minutes, and then the motivation wears off and you feel kind of like a jerk because you didn't live up to the expectation that you set for yourself after listening to the person on the tape. You're not going to need that anymore if this works. I've never done it before, so we'll see. I think it will work for me. And so ultimately, you'll become an entirely different person as a result of what we're doing, which is a big claim. I fully understand that. But I believe it to be true. So you'll tell me when we're done. So everything that we're going to work on today is built on this premise. I call this the pathway to rebirth. And the reason I say this is because I think that most people, myself included, at least in the past, I don't feel this way anymore, but a lot of us have basically we're two different people. There's the person we're being today and the person that we want to become. And I think that in order for us to actually do all the stuff that we want to do and have what we want to have, the smartest thing and the most efficient thing for us to do is to simply become reborn, metaphorically, into that person that we are meant to be, and then everything else will happen automatically, which I know is cerebral. We'll get tactical, by the way, in a minute, but this is very cerebral. But tell me what you think about this. We really have three questions that are going to drive us. The first thing is, what do you want, right? Which is obvious. That's the easiest one to answer. Okay, well, I want a pony and a rocket, and I want to put a rocket on the back of the pony, and then I want to ride the pony, and I want Angelina Jolie to feed me grapes, whatever, right? So that's a pretty simple one. And then we have this why do you want it thing. That's where we're supposed to find our driver. Find your why, and then you'll be able to do anything. I sound like Tony right there. I agree with that to a point, but I think the real driver is the answer to this question, which is, who must you be in order for these other two right here, in order for these guys to become inevitable? I think if you become the right person, this stuff falls in place by proxy. It has for me. So what happens here is when you address this, you essentially get into the issue of what is my true identity and what is my true self-image. And I think your identity, who you self-identify as, drives everything else. I don't think it's the why. I don't think it's the goals. It's definitely not motivation. If you change your internal identity, everything else happens by default. And hopefully I will prove that to you today, and I'll give you some strategies on how to do it. So that's our premise. That's what today's training is all about. So if that sounds too weird for you, I understand. Thanks for coming so far. And if you want to roll out, that's cool. But this is where we're going today. So our identity is basically controlled by these three things. We have our input, what's coming into your mind. You have your surroundings and associations, who you're with, where you are. And you have something I call conscious reinforcement, which is what you are doing to foster that identity. If you're even conscious of your own self-image, your identity has a profound effect on these three things. Number one, your focus and thoughts. If you identify yourself as a crackhead, you're going to be thinking about crack all the time, right? That's going to be your focus. If you identify yourself as an athlete, you're going to think about physical fitness. You're going to think about athleticism. You're going to do things differently than if you identified yourself in your own mind as a glutton. It's just the way it goes. So your identity influences your focus and thoughts. Those influence your actions. Your actions influence your results. And check this out. Your results reinforce the self-image. So if we are conscious about that, right? If we're conscious of the fact that our self-image and our own internal identity influences our thoughts and focus, which influence our actions, which influence our results, that means we can actually control everything deliberately by creating the proper identity and self-image that will lead to all of these things automatically. So if you can't, like, if that makes sense to you, I know you just probably went into like this weird mirror vision right now, but if that makes sense to y'all, let me know. Like, it's just, it's, if I'm out in la la land to you, I understand that that is a bit strange, but if you're with me so far, let me know. Nick says, yeah, that's good. And this dang delay, I didn't upgrade to the new version of webinar jams because the instructions were so long. So it was like, dude, that's weird. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get back to the proper view here. Neat. All right, great. Man, you guys are really on fire today. A lot of people on here today. Super cool. Thank you. And yes, we are live. Okay, so let me move forward here. All right, so that's our premise, right? So we're going to address these. So we're going to start with this one. This is the easy one, the question of what do you want? Now, listen to this. If you just focus on this every single day, if you simply make what you want your primary area of focus, you will have a dramatic improvement in your life. You will have a dramatic reduction of stress and overwhelm because you're programmed, and I'll prove this to you later, you're programmed to focus on what you don't want and what's wrong. So if you focus on what you want every day, you're going to do better just by default. So that's easy, right? That's like saying, hey, dude, if you just drink 4 liters of water every day, you're going to shed excess weight. You're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better. Real easy to drink 4 liters of water, right? So here's what I do. All the time, I'm writing this down. I took this picture for you yesterday on New Year's Day. So I always keep a running, changing list of what I want. And I urge you to do the same. So even if you want to right now while we're talking, just jot it down, right? What do you want? And this is where you can have a really good time. You can vomit up all the crazy stuff if you want to. I've kind of already done all the crazy stuff and had the jet-powered ponies. Well, not literally, but so now for what I want, I'll just give you my list. My list is irrelevant to you other than the strategy of writing it down. For me, it's $1 million a month with 500,000 net. You'll notice over here, I've gotten exactly what that is on a daily basis. So I know my math. I don't want any business opportunity. People get rich quick stuff. Nothing against them. I just can't help them. I want consistent revenue, which I have. I want systems that don't depend on me. So if I get sick or if I go out of town, I want the business to continue to do well. I want my community to continue to do well. I want software continuity, which I don't have yet, but I want it. I want 4 new houses per quarter. I have 4 children. I want them all to own real estate. I don't want them to know they own real estate, but I want them to. I want limited involuntary human interaction, like talking to people like today when it's on my terms. Don't like involuntary, hey, you have this appointment that you didn't want to do. So, what you want is what you want. It's always cool. All proactive, no reactive, and no compliance issues or worries, right? So this is what I want. It means nothing to you guys other than here's an example of what my personal list looks like. The trick here is to keep this your focus all the time. Always focus on what you want. Now, doing that is helpful. It is not the answer. Having goals, reinforcing goals is helpful. It's better than if you don't do it, but it will only get you so far. So the all-knowing they will say, okay, now to really understand your behavior and to really get motivated, for lack of a better word, we have to go down into figuring out, why do you want all of this stuff, right? And this is where we blow it, right here. This is where we start to come off the rails despite our best intentions and despite countless years of studying personal development. And I'll tell you why. Typically, and this is a generalization, I admit, right? So not everybody will experience this. Some of you guys are evolved and just have your act together. I never had, so I had to figure this out. So typically, our answer to why do you want it is going to be a reactive answer based on personal negative experience, such as, I never want to have a shitty job again, right? That's a reaction. That is not a proactive, here's really why I want something. That you're reacting to a bad experience in the past. Totally normal. The other thing that happens is we'll give a programmed answer based on what we think we're supposed to want. And so we'll sort of remove self-interest from the equation, and we'll create this like almost imagined altruism where it's like, well, I just want to, the reason I want this is so I can better serve mankind. So it's funny because ultimately that really is our most powerful driver, but rarely do we really mean it if we say it at first. And so that's a little bit weird, and we're going to go deeper into that in a minute. But typically the answer to why you want it is wrong. We just bullshit ourselves, basically. And I've done it, so I'm not telling you this from an ivory tower by any means. So I'm going to tell you a story now. So here's how the rest of our afternoon or our morning, I suppose, is going to go. And yes, we are live. It's 10 whatever now, 10:20. I'm going to tell you a series of embarrassing stories. They're not too long. And I'm going to tell you this to illustrate and prove a point. And then I'm going to give you some specific tactics, okay? So I have here, prepare to feel smarter by contrast. So I'm going to share with you things I've really never publicly shared before. But really, if you leave with nothing today, you can at least go, good Lord, at least I haven't done the dumb stuff Kern's done. All right? So the purpose of this story, by the way, is to illustrate the power of your identity and your drivers on your behavior. All right? So here's our first part, is my embarrassing and sordid youth. So I was born, I mean, we're really going all the way back to my birth, but I promise you this isn't about me. This is to illustrate something for you. My parents divorced at age 2. I was born Erwin Frank Kern IV. Erwin. Thank you very much. Nothing says tough guy like Erwin. Parents divorced at age 2, and my mother remarries this fellow with the last name of Tittle. So when they remarried, for reasons beyond my control or understanding, I took his last name. Now, please keep in mind, out of respect to my deceased father and the 3 Erwin Frank Kerns before me, I'm the 4th, I did not volunteer to do this. This was kind of like, hey, now your name is Tittle. So you're no longer a Kern. Your name is now Erwin Frank Tittle. So imagine growing up, by the way, roll call, in like 2nd and 3rd grade. Tittle? Erwin Tittle? I mean, I'm like trying to dig a hole to China, hiding under the desk there. Now, the thing about Tittle was not only did he have an awesome last name, which I got to share for a period of my life, but he also was a really unpleasant man. I think he meant well, but his form of communication was basically yelling and insults. So every day, from age 5 to 16, he told me that I was small, stupid, lazy, and weak. And I don't mean like he would insinuate that. I mean, he would say, listen, you're small, you're worthless, you're lazy, you're dumb, and you're weak, which was unpleasant. I didn't much care for that. Now, my mother was a family therapist and a psychologist, not an MD psychiatrist, but a psychologist. And she, at that time, was intensely fascinated with the topic of addiction. So she would tell me how my biological father, Frank Kern, who I was named after, was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and that if I wasn't careful, I would end up like him. And so, of course, I don't even understand what she's talking about. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, what does this even mean? I just want to play with Superman dolls, right? That really sounded pretty manly, didn't it? Give me my Superman doll. But whatever. The bad thing is here, I believed everything they told me. So my self-image was, I am weak and lazy. Must be true. And so because of that, as I got older, I really started to sort of veer off path. Actually, I was never on path. So I started to stay off path. So by in the 5th grade, I remember summer of 5th grade, I took my first drink. It was a screwdriver. I was with my grandparents on my father's side, and they went out to dinner. I poured vodka and orange juice together and then put water back in the vodka bottle and started drinking. By age 14, I was smoking reefer and dropping acid, and I just loved partying. By the age of 16, my mother finally divorced Tittle, and I took my name back instantly because I really felt weird about not having my birth name. I really, I loved my father very much and his father before him, and it was kind of cool being a 4th and everything. So I take my name back, but at this point, I'm a professional drug user and drinker. As a matter of fact, I remember when my mother told me she was divorcing my stepfather, I was blasted. And she comes to me and she goes, listen, I need to talk to you. Walk with me down the driveway. So we lived on this little hill in a cul-de-sac. We had this long gravel driveway that I had to rake all the time. It sucked. So I'm like, oh my God, she knows I'm high. She's having me walk with her down this driveway so the dudes in the white van can pick me up and take me back to rehab. So we get to the end of the driveway. There's no white van. She sits down with me in the gravel, and she's all serious because I guess she thought I would care. And she goes, "Hey, listen, I'm divorcing your stepfather." And I was so relieved that she didn't know how intoxicated I was and that she wasn't taking me to rehab that I started laughing. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." You know, I mean, then I'm like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, that's very serious." Right. You know, so anyway, that's like me growing up. But from the next 10 years, basically till I was around 27, I set world records for drug and alcohol abuse in the phase 1 of my record setting. I was by no means done, but I really started out strong in that category, which is really didn't get me anywhere. I failed as a rock star. That was my dream, was to become a rock and roll guitar player. As such, I never did anything academically. I learned no skills other than how to play drunken barroom rock and roll moderately well, you know. Got fired from a long series of minimum wage jobs. And at that point, I was a total disappointment to my family. And because they told me, but it wasn't insinuated, they were like, "We are really disappointed in how you're turning out here. You know, like, we don't do this. You need to pull it together." So during all of that, I also had to work. Okay, which I didn't really mind. Well, I didn't like it, but I'm glad I did. So starting in 5th grade through the 10th grade, I was a gas station attendant at a marina. My stepfather was a boat mechanic, and he had me working at the marina where he was a mechanic, and I would pump gas, which this is back when I guess it was okay for 5th grade kids to operate gas pumps like around open engines. It seems kind of unsafe now, but whatever. I didn't blow anybody up. So I did that through 10th grade. 10th grade to a senior in high school, I got a job because I can now drive. I got a job as a desk clerk at a hotel. So I'd get out of high school at 3, and then I would work as a desk clerk. I'm the dude that checks you in, you know, until 11 o'clock at night. And then I'd go home and you know, I would say I would do my homework and study, but I would go home and chain smoke reefer, go to bed and do it all again. In my late teens to mid 20s, as a result of like never having any actual ambition, I did all the typical stupid stuff, right? Minimum wage job, fast food. I was a fry cook. I was a roofer. That's very hard work. I installed underground dog fences, like those little invisible fences. You know, I did that like forever. It was also very hard work. I had a job where I worked with convicts, and it was me and a bunch of convicts, and we were alone in these warehouses, swinging giant sledgehammers, breaking apart military surplus computers and engines and stuff to strip out the copper and tin and separate it for salvage. So that was a very fun job. So that was like what I did. And by the time I hit mid-20s, I was like, okay, I want to maybe try to make some money, but I didn't have any skills. So I did what people with really no skills yet start out doing, aside from manual labor, which is sales. So I did used car sales and door-to-door sales and everything. And during that time, my identity was a slacker and a partier who hated the man, right? Because I like, think about this. I'm having to do something that sucks here. Pump gas, hated it. Hated being a desk clerk. Hated fast food stuff. Hated used car sales and door-to-door sales. So I like basically just wanted to party all the time and do as little work as possible. And this is me. I dug this up yesterday. So this is from an actual real picture. I took a picture of a picture with my phone and put it up here for you. I have absolutely no recollection of this at all. No idea who this person is beside me. I blacked her out because Lord knows she's probably a respectable, normal person. No clue where that is. Nothing. Just happened to have that in a shoebox. So this is right around that era. And if you don't know me, I have blue eyes, but you can't tell by looking at the picture because my pupils are roughly the size of Jupiter. So anyway, that was that entire era. That's me. So during that time, I'm like, okay, all I want to do is party. I'm a slacker. I'm a party. I want to stick it to the man, but I want to get money, but I don't want to have to work for it. So I did what any person who wants to get rich and doesn't want to work for it does. I get involved in business opportunity stuff. I become a biz op guy. Where'd that go? There we go. Lost my slides for a minute. So this all started in 1999. I got started online. I did a search on Yahoo for how to sell stuff without talking to people after a particularly bad day of door-to-door credit card machine selling. That was the last job I ever had. So I did that, and that search led me to discover what we now know as internet marketing and direct response. And the first business opportunity online that I bought, now the first thing I bought was a course on how to do marketing, which basically got me interested in business opportunity. And the first biz op I bought was this thing called Report Broker 2000. I was 27 at the time. Report Broker 2000 was a CD CD-ROM that came with a bunch of reports you could sell, and you could keep all the money from each sale. So it's like, hey, you know, information business is great. You can print out these reports and sell them, or you can sell the entire CD, or if you want to, you can sell the whole package. And you could even use this sales letter that you are reading right now that's selling you this very CD. And that principle is called master reprint rights. I was able to grant the reprint rights to other people, and you basically now are the owner of this intellectual property. And here's the sales letter. I found it online. I didn't write this. This was a very good sales letter. But this is the first this is the first get rich quick type of thing online that I ever bought. And so I got it, and I'm like, I'm going to start selling this thing, right? So I'll be damned, it worked. I was successfully selling the Report Broker 2000 business opportunity. So I was like, yay, you know, if this thing works, maybe I'll get reprint rights to other stuff. And so I started buying reprint rights to seminars on tapes and reports and books. And like, I really got into it. And then I got this bright idea. I was like, wait a minute, you know, I could just take a bunch of these things I have reprint rights to and bundle them as one complete package, and then write a sales letter that sells it. And I can do the same thing that Report Broker 2000 was. That was really the name of it. Like, what was I guess because it was the year 2000. It's always funny if you have 2000 after the name, you know. And I was like, oh shit, I'll do that. You know what I mean? I'll take like a bunch of these ebooks I have, and I'll create a new unique product. I'll write a really good sales letter for it, and I'll sell master reprint rights to that. And I'll be damned, it worked. I had instant success, which was naturally followed by complete humiliation and disaster. The product I created, the very first product I created, was called Instant Internet Empires. It was a bundle of 5 ebooks. Each ebook had their own website. So, you know, if you bought it, you could sell each ebook individually. You got a website that sold it. I put like all these video tutorials in there on how to do web design and set up a domain name and do FTP and like really basic stuff. Gave people master reprint rights to everything, including the main sales letter that sold the package. And it was a pretty big hit. The total cost of the package was $47, and everything was going pretty good for a little while until all hell broke loose. In May of 2003, I learned the hard way that our government has this organization that protects consumers from stupid products like the one I had created, and they're called the Federal Trade Commission. And I learned about them because in May of 2003, someone walked up to me in my driveway and said, "Are you Erwin Frank Kern IV?" And I said, "Yes." And they handed me, it's either 7 or 11 pounds of paperwork. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a lawsuit. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of this group of folks called the Federal Trade Commission. And basically that paperwork said, "Dear Mr. Kern, A, screw you, you suck. B, we are suing you." And the reason they sued me, by the way, is something called unsubstantiated income claims, which I was making. And so I wasn't doing it intentionally, but if you go out and you say, "Hey, I made a bunch of money and you can too," that's called an unsubstantiated income claim, and unless you can prove that the average person who buys your stuff actually makes that amount of money. So I didn't know that at the time. So I did not educate myself on advertising regulations, and I paid the price for it. Now, this was entirely my fault. Who was I behaving like? I was behaving like a slacker and a partier who wanted to stick it to the man and get rich without working. So naturally, I didn't educate myself on advertising regulations. So I'm instantly humiliated at this point, right? I had this list. I'd sold that product to about 8,000 people, and I had to email them a copy of this lawsuit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, really? Because like, who would want to do that? Hello, 8,000 people. I have, unfortunately, this letter serves to tell you that I have deceived you and the product you bought is worthless. So I was already a business opportunity guy, which is bad enough, but now I'm labeled as a scammer by the US government. I actually I've always viewed myself as in partnership with my country. I'm not one of these screw the government guys. Like, I'm scared of them, but I appreciate what we have here. You know, I mean, America's not perfect, but it's my home, it's my country, and I couldn't do a better job of it. So I'm like, damn, I don't want to be at odds with the government. I want to be cool with these guys. I don't want to be like labeled as this scammer. Shit, you know, it really, really sucked. It was very, very humiliating for me. And thankfully, because the product was actually pretty good, the people who bought it from me did not lynch me. I think that had the 8,000 people that I had to email and say, "Hey, you know, here's this lawsuit and this really sucks," had they turned and said, "You know what, screw you, you suck, I can't believe you sold me this thing, I hate you," I wouldn't be here. So the customers who I sold that to were very supportive of me, and they're like, "Oh man, that's a bummer, you know, we actually liked it, and I hope this gets better, basically. So some of y'all are on here now. So statistically, I know that some people who are on here right now that are listening to this today at 10:34 on January 2nd, 2017, were one of those early people who were cool to me. And thank you for being cool to me. There's no way I would be here had you not been cool to me. I could not have survived that. So thank you. And during that instant humiliation, I was instantly blessed. So getting sued and publicly humiliated was really the best thing that ever happened to me. I certainly wouldn't want it to happen again. But if it hadn't happened, I would have been a biz op person. I'd have been a get rich quick guy. I'd have had the boiler room. I'd have been doing infomercials. I probably would have been that person. So doing that, getting humiliated and getting my ass kicked and smacked around forced me to grow up and stop being such an idiot, which was pretty helpful. So at that point, when that happens, 2003, I've got this big decision, right? So I settled with the Federal Trade Commission. By settling, I said, okay, I surrender. You win. There's no need to sue me because you already have won. We don't have to go to court. Just take whatever it is you want. And I promise I won't do it again. And I'm so very sorry. And the process of doing that, I had to go in $100,000 of debt to pay legal bills. So there I was. I was a new dad, my firstborn daughter, $100,000 in debt, and a stunningly bad reputation. So I'm like, well, this didn't really work out. Apparently, if you self-identify as a slacker and a partier and all you want to do is get rich quick without work and stick it to the man, you end up in a bad spot, right? So I had a choice. So I could go and get another minimum wage job, I guess, or try to do more door-to-door sales or something, or I could get to work and get back up, get back in the ring and try to do it. So I like to say I chose door number 2 because I'm like a badass or whatever, or really I chose door number 2 because I couldn't survive in door number 1. I couldn't really feed my family and do a good job because I had no skills, right? What am I going to get a job as? You know what I mean? I had zero skills, and all they had to do was read USA Today or something and say, oh, you're that guy that got sued by the, well, man, I don't think we want to hire you. So I didn't choose door number 2 because I'm a tough guy. I chose door number 2 because I had no choice. There was really nothing for me to go back to. And at that stage, my self-identity shifted. I stopped believing I was a partier and a slacker. Now I started believing I was just a survivor. It's like, man, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to survive this. So coming back from that, I was terrified of getting sued again. So I was like, I'm not going to sell anything about business or marketing. And I really didn't know anything about business or marketing. I just bought rights to sell other people's stuff. So I'm going to try to sell ebooks about pets. And I learned when I was an invisible fencing installer guy that people were crazy about their dogs and stuff, and they'd spend a lot of money on them. So I said, okay, this is a nice, safe thing. So the first thing I did was I created a training guide for parrot owners. And I got that idea from listening to one of the seminar recordings that I bought reprint rights to. And here's a screenshot of the first website that I built for it. And it worked pretty good. And the next site I built was for people who wanted to attract hummingbirds. That didn't work too well. That was and then the next one was for people who owned Labradors and they wanted to train their labs. And here are screenshots of those websites. Not a lot changes in terms of copy, by the way. Look, that stuff is, good Lord, man, 12 years old now or something. And it's still, same principles are still applying. So some of them worked, some didn't. Now, remember, I'm starting with -0. So when I built these things, I'm running PPC ads on AdWords. I don't even think it was AdWords. It was Overture, I think, whatever. GoTo went to Overture, got bought by Yahoo or something, little rinky-dink PPC. So I'd spend $20 in a day and just be terrified that I wouldn't make my $20 back. Because I had no freaking money and a new baby and all these obligations. So what ended up working was the dog stuff. So dog training books were selling. And I thought, there's 600 breeds of dogs and you train them all the same. And I knew this because I had trained a lot of dogs, being the guy that installed these damn fences and trained the dogs to stay in the yard. So I invented this marketing technology that would basically allow me to create a one-size-fits-all sales letter, an opt-in page, and everything for every breed of dog in the world. And it would be created dynamically. And there are, like I said, 600 different breeds of dogs in the world. So when I built that, I had 600 fully functioning ad campaigns and funnels, and everything was customized for each breed of dog. And it was crazy. So because of that, it worked. I built a list of over 300,000 dog owners by advertising those websites. And I went on to sell around 40,000 copies of my course about training dogs, and it brought in over $1 million. Now, I didn't get rich. I didn't keep $1 million. I started with, $20 a day, and I got to where I was spending a grand or so a day. And my net profit was significantly less than $1 million, but I had dug myself out of the hole. I had survived. And that's all I had done was survive, right? I didn't really build anything amazing. I didn't build a back end to that dog business. I mean, had I run the dang dog business properly and sold supplements, insurance and stuff, I'd be a gazillionaire. But I didn't. I just survived. So at that stage, I decided to change once again, because building that dog business, it gave me confidence in my abilities to actually teach marketing stuff, because I'd always wanted to be a marketing consultant ever since I saw Jay Abraham on a VHS tape in like 1990 something. I was like, I want to be one of these guys. This is really cool. So before, I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just selling other people's recordings, but now I'd actually done it. So I made a deliberate decision to become this brand, Frank Kern. I made the decision on an airplane flying to Atlanta for a meeting. I'm like, I'm going to turn myself into this marketing celebrity person, right? And so I did. I created mass control. I created list control. During that era, my personal net income was at an all-time high. During this time, I bought 2 Ferraris, 2 Rolls Royces. I never flew commercially unless it was international. So every flight was private. I had 4 beach houses. I owned 1. I leased 3, all within 5 miles of each other, all at the same time. And so basically I was doing marketing celebrity stuff. I was acting like I was a celebrity. I was making the same dumbass decisions that a celebrity would do, because that was my identity. I said, I'm going to become a marketing celebrity. And that's who I identified as. Also, during that time, I was totally miserable, and I began to sabotage the business. So I walked away from it. I didn't just quit, but I quit caring about it. And I started trying all these other projects, and I knew they wouldn't work, but I tried them anyway. And I probably was doing that because I was also drinking and taking drugs every single day. And by 2010, incidentally, I made the decision to really become very successful as a marketing guy in late 2006. By 2010, my personal income had dropped by 50% from its all-time high. In 2011, it dropped by another $250,000. And my self-identity now at that time was the Keith Richards of internet marketing. So I was just partying all the time. I was like, yeah, man, screw it. I was just miserable. I was in this marriage I hated, and I didn't like the business. And it was just a bad scene. So if you look at this, if you look at that story, not as really being related to me, because who cares about my story, but just from an analytical point of view, let's take a look at the effects of the why and self-identity on behavior. So if you look at, and this is just from the business perspective, right? If you look at this BizOp era from 1999 to 2003, when I bought Report Broker 2000 all the way up until I got sued by the feds, thankfully. Please don't do it again, fellas, but I appreciate the lessons. My why was basically freedom from stuff that sucked. I don't want to have a shitty job. I don't want to have to answer. I'm mad because my stepdad said I've sucked, and I want to stick it to the man. And my identity was a slacker and partier. Because of that, this was my why, and I did stupid stuff. You go to the rebuilding area where I built the dog business, my whole drive was survival. My self-identity was a survivor. Well, if you look at that, I built that business, and all I did was survive. I had an unbelievable opportunity in that dog business to make $1 gazillion because I was turning a profit, selling a $47 product through advertising to people in one of the most rabid markets in the world, no pun intended, which is pet owners. They spend ungodly amounts of money on their animals. I mean, my wife buys $500 worth of treats for my dog, Charlie Murphy, every month. And I'm like, please stop buying it. I'm from Georgia. I mean, you give the dog bacon and he's cool, So anyway, survivor identity, survivor drive, reason why I did dumb stuff. All I did was survive. You can't really build anything if you're only surviving, right? In the guru era, I was really driven by significance. I say prosperity. My main driver was significance because I was humiliated and I was reacting from being humiliated by being sued. And I wanted to show the world that I was a big shot, right? I mean, really, that's what it was all about. Of course, I wanted to help people, but, honestly, I really was more about me than anybody else. I think I did help some people, but that was luck more than anything, So my identity was celebrity. I was like, I'm going to be a marketing celebrity. And I did dumb celebrities. I did the same stuff that celebrities you read about in the Inquirer do. I took as many drugs as humanly possible, right? Turned into the Keith Richards of internet marketing, and subsequently made horrible financial decisions and horrible business decisions, and cut my income by 50% and then slashed it again by $250,000. And now we have present day, which is dramatically different. So that is the end of like the embarrassing story part. Now I want to tell you how I turned things around and then start giving you some specifics. And I appreciate you being here. If you guys are still here, I can't see the control panel because my slides are at full screen, but I know this is a bit cerebral, but I'm telling you, if you practice what I'm going to show you, your life will change. At least it did for me. So the next phase now became clarity. So during all those years, from like 2005 until 2007, I was very unhappy in my first marriage. I'd been married for 11 years. And in 2011, we decided to divorce. And I volunteered to give away everything. Like, we didn't go to court. We didn't do the typical fighting and stuff. I was like, man, just, you know what, here, just take everything and let's just be cool. We have these children. Let's focus on that. And so, you know, that is what it was. And so I kind of had a pretty significant reduction in money at that time. I also signed up for a near record-setting monthly support obligation. So someone has told me, a friend of mine, I don't know how he would know this, but says that my alimony and support payments are more than what Elon Musk pays, which I hope is not true, because then I would feel stupid. But like, think about this. I went from having, like, let's buy a bunch of Rollses and Ferraris and just throw money around and be like stupid with it, to having an 80% reduction in my assets and a giant monthly obligation. And I had really kind of tanked my business at that point. So, you know, it's not like I was riding high. I'm like, I'm out. I like rode high, crashed it, and was like, look, I'm all screwed up. Let's part and let me do you right here and take care of you. So as a result of that, I was like, I'm never, ever going to get married again. Right. I'm like, getting a divorce. I'm going to just like live at this little beach house, surf all day, and kind of just chill out. You know what I mean? I really thought, like, okay, I'll get me a little pickup truck. I'll have a small little business, and, you know, I'll make whatever money that meet my obligations, and I'll just chill out. I kind of wanted to live like Matthew McConaughey. Like, I don't know if you remember when McConaughey lived in an Airstream trailer at the beach. That was sort of my fantasy. So I'm like, I'm never going to get married again. And boy, if you want to hear God laugh, make plans. Say something like never. So after that, I meet Natalia. That's her. Obviously, I'm the one on the right there. She's the pretty one. So I meet her. This is my current wife. And I'm at this, the irony here is ridiculous. I'm at this fitness event. I meet her. I immediately am in love with her, like irrationally, like nothing I'd ever experienced in my life. So I meet her. I'm like, hello. She's like, hello. And that's it. Okay. And so I don't see her. I find her on Facebook. I start messaging with her on Facebook like a freaking high schooler. And for almost 60 days, I like barraged this poor woman with texts and emails and phone calls proclaiming my undying love for her. And I tell her flat out, now keep in mind, we had never been on even a date. I say, listen, well, I worked with people in the dating advice world, and I totally threw all of their rules out the window. I immediately said, I know we just met, but I'm hopelessly in love with you. I want to marry you, and I want to have children with you. She lived in Florida at the time. I said, I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to get you, and we're going to live together in California, which miraculously she didn't run away and file a restraining order. But it did take me like 60 days of nonstop, conniving to get her to go on a date with me. So she finally agrees to go on a single date with me. I don't botch that. I was so nervous, but I don't screw it up. And we start kind of dating and everything. And that's all really, really good. So we begin our life together, which is great. And I'm like, sweet. I can't believe this actually is happening. I mean, look at her, I'm like, I can't believe that she's chosen me, and this is wonderful, and maybe things will work out. So things are going well, and I get a text from her. This is very early in our relationship. And this is the worst. Like, if you're a dude and you've gotten this, especially by text message, this is never good. Right? Like, imagine like all the men who are listening to this right now, and ladies, if you're listening to this and you want to like really get a man's attention, send him this message. Or so I'm like, I get the text of death. We have to talk. And I'm like, well, she's come to her senses. I can't, of course, why would she want to begin this life with me? I told her of all my past sins and everything, like everything you're not supposed to do. I just vomited it up. Hello, Natalia. I'm Frank. I'm totally in love with you. I have been a complete degenerate, drug addicted, alcoholic psychopath. I have run my business in the ground. I'm recently divorced. I have 2 children. I've been a terrible father to them, and I'm in pretty bad financial shape. But I want to marry you and have children with you. And I promise if you come with me, everything will be good. Right. So like, I'm thinking, well, naturally she's sort of come around to reality here, and she's had enough. So I call her. I get the text, 0.05 seconds later, her phone's ringing. She doesn't answer it. I'm like, what the hell? So then I call her again. No answer. Then I text her. I'm like, what's up? You just texted me. I know you're there. Don't leave me hanging. And so she's like, no, I can't talk right now. Let me call you later. I'm like, no, dude, you gotta, please. So finally, this is all by text. She says, I think I might be pregnant. And so I was so relieved. Like, I wanted to have children with her, right? So I was fine with her. I don't care if it was early in our relationship. I knew she was the one for me. So she's like, I think I might be pregnant. So this is all by text because she's at the nail salon and couldn't talk. She's like, didn't want to have this conversation in front of all these strangers at the freaking nail salon. So, again, she took the pregnancy test there and had forgotten she'd taken it. And then during her manicure or whatever, looked in her purse, saw the positive result. And then now she's stuck in the chair getting her manicure or pedicure or whatever goes on there and can't like talk to me on the phone. So imagine her. I thought I was having a hard time. So anyway, I'm relieved. And I'm like, oh, well, that's great. That's nothing. That's fine. Perfect. Right. And then so that all works itself out pretty good. Thankfully, I had told her I wanted to have children with her and marry her. And that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Eliminated any fear that like it wasn't going to work between us because she thought I would be obligated with this child. I wasn't. I really genuinely wanted a son with her and was thrilled. So that's all going pretty good until late in the pregnancy. So she gets this random infection, not like a staph infection, but it wasn't staph. It was something, but like nothing, like what you get from a cut. And she starts not feeling good. I'm like, this is weird. And it turns out that little infection got into her bloodstream and turned into something called sepsis. And that developed into pneumonia, which then developed into something called advanced respiratory distress syndrome, which has a 40% death rate. So she goes into a freaking coma. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? I mean, she's like, one day she's not feeling well. 2 days later, life support in a coma, tubes coming out of her, eyes taped shut, and super pregnant because this is late in the pregnancy. So I'm flipping out, right? Obviously, I'm at the hospital. She like looks dead. I don't know if you've ever seen someone in a coma and gone up to them and like touched their face and petted them or whatever, because, obviously I did that. She's the love of my life. But so I'm flipped out. And to make that more intense, someone from the hospital comes up and they go, hey, we need to talk to you for a minute. I'm like, okay, I'm shell shocked. And they basically say, dude, you ain't got no health insurance. So it turns out when I was making my big mouth promises to her, I'm going to come to Florida, I'm going to get you, I'm going to, we're going to have this life together. It's going to be great. I didn't really pay attention to the small details. And it was some like little stupid thing, but when you moved and you don't file the right stuff saying you moved, you lose your damn coverage. So on the day she goes into a coma, I learned that insurance was non-existent, and now we have $100,000 hospital bill. 100 grand. So I go from like top of the world to wife in coma. Well, we weren't married yet. But I thought of her as my wife the minute I saw her. So anyway, I'll say wife in coma. And now $100,000 hospital bill. And I was financially impaired at the time because I'd given away all my money and I'd had years of stupid financial decisions thanks to being an idiot and pretending I was a celebrity. So I was like flipping out. So it dawned on me, I'm not living up to these big mouth promises, and things got really real. You ever heard that expression? It's about to get real. Well, man, it got real really, really fast. And so I go home because they kick you out of ICU at night. So she was in the intensive care unit. I go home. And I'm like in that dark night of the soul type of thing, so I'm really freaking out here. So I'm like, all right, how did I get here? And more importantly, how do I turn this around? Because not only is she depending on me, but we've got an unborn child together. And what am I, what if she doesn't make it and the child does? And if she doesn't make it, how am I going to help her family? And all of this and tell them, just like super pressure. So I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, my driving force had always been freedom or significance. And I had always run away from responsibility and obligation. And I had used work as an excuse to avoid my family. Like I told you earlier, I was very unhappy in my first marriage. There's no one to blame. We just weren't compatible. I'm not disparaging my former wife at all. She's a fine lady. I used drugs and alcohol as a way to avoid how screwed up that behavior was, so I'm neglecting my children and being a terrible father. So in order to numb the pain of that, I'm just going to be intoxicated on top of it, and then I used it runs in the family as an excuse to avoid the obvious fact that I had a substance abuse problem. So I'm like alone in this new little house I'd rented, thinking I'm going to build this life with the love of my life and turn everything around. And she's in the hospital potentially dying. And I'm like, all these thoughts are going through my mind. So I'd met my true soulmate now. She's in a coma, but now my drive was a lot different. I wanted to be with my family. I didn't want to run away from responsibility anymore. Like I had found what I was looking for. And my unborn son might not survive. Plus, I'd spent 8 years basically running away from my daughters, so I really hardly knew them. So I'm like, damn, this is really heavy. These girls, my little girls love Natalia. Like we're just now starting to heal all of this stuff. It's all really going well. And now it's all in extreme danger. So my new why, I realized in that moment that my real driver was actually protecting and growing my family. That was for me the main thing. So I asked myself this question, and the question is, I'll ask it to you as well. With all the skills and experience I've had until now, why have I constantly been the victim of my own self-sabotage? And why have I known what to do and how to do it, but still not done it? Hang on, I gotta get some water. Think about that. Does that resonate with you at all? Have you ever really sabotaged your own success? And you don't have to like publicly admit this or anything. I mean, it's really kind of embarrassing to publicly admit it, but I'll do it for you. Or do you find yourself knowing exactly what you're supposed to do and exactly how to do it, but you just haven't done it? Like think about our business for a minute, right? Let's go back away from the emotional stuff and back into business for a minute. Like if you look at what we do, we talk and we type for a living. I mean, that's really it. I mean, how freaking hard is it? You write a sales letter, you send an email, you build an opt-in page, and maybe you shoot a video sales letter or something. I mean, that's kind of like, okay, none of this is rocket science, right? I mean, my grandfather was a Marine in World War II. That was hard. This is really not that hard. So we know what to do, but we buy course after course after course. It sits on the shelf. We don't ever get anything done, right? So why? What the hell is going on here? And that was me asking myself, like, I know better than this, right? I've known better than to do all this stupid stuff. I'm supposed to be a big shot. I've destroyed my life and I've hurt other people around me. What the hell is going on? And the answer that like just came into my mind was it because you haven't identified and stepped into your true identity. And this was the big revelation. Remember earlier I said we really have these two people. Person number one is who we are or who we're being right now. The second is who we are meant to be. Like if you've ever thought, I'm meant for greater things than this. I am meant to do better. I am meant to contribute more. If you feel that way, you are right. That is your true identity. That is the person who you are supposed to be talking to you, saying, wake up. It's time to get to work right now, right? So we have that person who we're meant to be, and then we have who we are being now, right? And I call this our reactive identity. And this is, we're typically being who we are right now as a reaction to external stimulation, whether it's a reaction to past experiences. I'm mad about something, so never again, or I want to show these guys, or I want to make someone else proud of me. That's all reactive, right? That is us responding to external stimuli. Well, but here's the thing that I learned, that our suffering is in direct proportion to the distance between these 2 points. The farther you are from, the farther like who you're being now is away from who you're meant to be, the greater the distance between those, the more suffering you will experience. And that suffering will manifest as overwhelm, confusion, procrastination, lethargy, complacence. It just, to use the phrase of one of my physicians, it just fucks you up, man. That's how he described my allergy to blueberries. I was like, I took this blood test. He goes, dude, you're allergic to blueberries. I'm like, what happens? He goes, man, they just fuck you up. I'm like, that was a really profound medical diagnosis, sir. Thank you. But, that's really all I needed to hear, right? Okay, I don't need to know the cellular stuff. So anyway, if I'm curious to know, by the way, if you sort of, and you don't have to buy into this, but if this makes sense to you at all, that we have these dual sort of people, we have who we're supposed to be, and not who, I don't mean this like someone telling you who you're supposed to be. I mean like who inside you're supposed to be. And then we have who we're being now. And do you at least sort of think that maybe that the distance between these 2 points is going to be in direct proportion to how much we suffer? I'm curious to know. Now, the screen's probably going to go super weird for you right now. But let's have a look here. Let me know if this makes sense at all. Man, look at all of these comments here. All right, let's see. I think you can, there's the delay. So, but I know you're still with me. So that's pretty good. Man, that is nuts. All right, let's see here. Look at all of these guys. That's so crazy. How many people are here? Let's look. Oh, no wonder there's so many. Good Lord, there's like 1,000 people in here. Okay, nice. All right, so there's a little bit delay, but you guys are saying all kinds of really good stuff. Thank you very much. So I think, yes, all right, Sandy says, yes, absolutely. The delay messes me up. Y'all can't tell the delay, but I can't. Okay, so I'm going to turn this thing back on. All right, so if we accept this as potentially true, then the key to everything that helped me, that like literally instantly changed my life, was to do this. Discover your true identity, who you're supposed to be, give it a name, and deliberately set out to become that person. And when I did that, I named that identity Atlas. And the reason why is because I stepped into the responsibility. I was like, I am the protector and provider and shepherd of my own family, this little girl who I've fallen in love with, Natalia, our unborn son, my 2 daughters. And then I started thinking, and if I really want to get true with myself, I should realize that I have this ability to influence people, and I should use this ability to influence people to actually help them and carry some of maybe their burdens on my own back. And then I started thinking, and as an entrepreneur, we pay more taxes, we create jobs, we innovate, and we really support the entire world. So I created this name for that person who I was meant to be as Atlas. So that was in my mind. I don't like go around and introduce myself as Atlas. But when I make decisions now, I think, okay, I try to operate from the identity as Atlas. And when I made that decision, I swear to God, this is so freaky. Right. I made that decision. I said, I'm at home. The little house is on Las Colinas here in Rancho Santa Fe. I'm there by myself. I'm like, I'm no longer this idiot person. I am Atlas now. And I'm going to step into this identity because this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a provider and protector. That's why I have these skills. It wasn't luck. I don't think God's not like willy-nilly handing out Christmas presents like Mystery Santa. He gives you the gifts he gives you because he wants you to do something with them. So I was like, okay. Boom. So I did that. As soon as I made that decision, instant change of focus. So I'm like this is still going on. My wife is in a freaking coma on life support. I need to make $100,000 so I can pay these hospital bills. So I need to assure them that they're going to get some money and everything. So they'll continue to care for her because I'm worried. What if they think we're deadbeats and they don't really do everything they can to save her? And she's pregnant too, it's pretty she got a baby in her while she's in a freaking coma with sepsis. So anyway, from that moment, here's what happened. I go back to the hospital the next day. I'm sitting at her bedside for 2 days, and I write a webinar presentation and create a business plan for a new project. Within a week of her being hospitalized, and she incidentally, everything worked out with the coma. She was so incredibly strong, and still is, that she was only in the coma for a couple of days and got out of the hospital very quickly. But anyway, within a week of her doing that, the one project and the webinar I had built by her side had generated 75% of the total income from the previous year, which is like crazy. So I continued. I was like, holy crap, this shift is working pretty good. So I continued to sort of operate and to reinforce this Atlas identity, this Atlas self-image. And remember, this is my self-image. This isn't me projecting that to the world. I don't introduce myself as Atlas or anything. You know, I mean, this is all how I'm viewing myself now. So fast forward to today, my marriage is so good, it's annoying to others. We really are those people. Like, it's, you know, I mean, you would think, oh man, they're just faking it for social media or whatever, but I don't really mess around on social media. So it's really that good. Our family is unified and strong. Like, we do stuff. I don't run away from them anymore, which is awesome. After discovering and practicing what I'm about to show you, I have broken personal income records every single year since 2014. It took me 2012 and 13 to sort of rebuild and not get my act personally together, but I'd kind of sabotaged my business, so I had to de-sabotage it. But ever since 2014, broken personal income records. To give you an example of that, this year, well, last year now, 2016's tax bill, just the tax bill is more than twice of what 2011's total revenue was. And you know what? I don't complain about that. I mean, well, okay, I would rather pay less taxes, but in many ways, it fits in with the Atlas mentality because I feel very good that I'm doing my part for the country. I'm like, yeah, it's a high freaking taxes, but you know what? I'm Atlas, motherfuckers, and that's what I do. Of course I'm going to pay this. Of course I'm going to do my part. Of course I'm going to do more than others because that's what Atlas does. And when you step into the identity you are supposed to have, your whole mind shifts and things that used to bother you and freak you out no longer bother you. And you just proceed in a totally different thing. So let me show you specifically how that works. Okay, so that is now the end of my long personal story. I hope it didn't bore you too bad, but I needed it to illustrate these points. And I told you this for two reasons. Number one, to illustrate the power of self-identity. Your self-identity regulates everything you do. It is not the why. The driving force and the why is not what regulates what you do. It is your self-identity. That regulates the why, which regulates the behavior. I mean, everything comes down to really who you believe yourself to be. If your self-identity is in alignment with what you want to accomplish, you'll accomplish it with minimal friction. That's how I've been able to rebuild the business after just tanking it and go from being a terrible, really, I mean, in many ways, a terrible person, but really a bad, intoxicated, angry father in a toxic marriage that I hated, which was largely my fault, by the way, just to be crystal clear. I'm not putting blame on anyone other than myself for my past problems. And I was able to go from that to now being a very good parent in a great marriage with zero instructions, no courses, no seminars, no nothing, right? It's because I got my identity in alignment with what I wanted to accomplish. If your identity is not in alignment with what you want to accomplish, I can tell you from personal experience, you'll probably never accomplish it. Think about this. If you want to be a triathlete, but your self-image, your self-identity is that of a glutton or a partier, you're going to behave like a glutton and a partier. You're never going to train. You're never going to be a triathlete because they don't match. The glutton and partier cannot be the triathlete. It's impossible. So you've got to get these two things in line. So, like, to put it in perspective, for our world, if you've bought every course out there and those courses are sitting on a shelf, or you've never logged into the members area, you don't have a tactical problem. You don't have a motivation problem. You've got an identity crisis problem. Your self-image is telling you that I'm the type of person who does that. It's not telling you that, fuck yeah, I'll get it done. I don't necessarily even need this course, but I'll check it out because maybe I'll get a good idea, right? So if that sounds familiar, I'm telling you it's the personal identity. It is not a tactical issue. If you're fearful, if you're paralyzed by overwhelm, you got an identity crisis, right? Now, I still get fearful. I still get overwhelmed, but it's very fleeting, right? Everyone's going to have their moments. Sometimes I'll flip out. I'll get a little weirded out. It lasts maybe an hour. Then it's over. Hey, if you're more than an hour stuck on something, you've got an identity crisis. I'm telling you, your self-image is saying you're not the person who can handle this. Therefore, you need to be afraid. Your self-image is saying you are not good enough. You do not have what it takes. That is identity. your self-image is telling you that you were small, weak, or helpless, or whatever it may be. That is the real cause of the overwhelm, because really all problems are solvable. I mean, we're pretty advanced civilization right now. So what do you say? Let's fix it. Let's try it out. So first thing we got to do is understand the true identity. And our first step is to uncover the reactive lies that we've been told. Okay, so like I believed at 6'2" and 200, I'm 255 now because I lift a lot of weights and I used to eat a lot. I eat pretty clean now. But even when I was like 6'2" and 220, I used to think I was little. I thought I was physically small and weak because I grew up hearing that all the time. I would see myself in the mirror towering over other people in real life, and I'd still think that I was small. So like what you have heard has a serious effect on you. So you have to uncover it. You have to really sit down and think about, okay, what have I heard? What have I believed that is really totally untrue? And that's critical. You've got to identify it. And that takes maybe like an hour of just you sitting around with a notepad and thinking. Ain't too hard to do thinking, that's the easy part, right? So these were the lies that I had told myself and that I had believed and all of this kind of stuff, Next, just recognize them. That's all you got to do. And to say, okay, they're there. That's all right. And I'm just going to put those over here. I'm just going to recognize those for what they are. We're not going to mess with them. We're not going to like demonize them. We're not going to get mad at anybody. We're not going to put blame on anyone. We're just going to say, okay, those beliefs are over there. That's fine. Next thing we got to do is we have to understand the power of the most powerful why. Okay, so this is extremely profound. We use what I call the most powerful why to uncover the true identity, which will then govern all of our behavior. Let me ask you a question. And I'm going to try to sell you on this concept here. So, and this concept is free, by the way. So I'm trying to sell you something helpful for free. Do you believe that as entrepreneurs, the amount of revenue that we get is in direct proportion to the amount of value that we provide others? Meaning, we're not going to be rewarded unless we provide value. And the more value we provide, the more reward we will get as entrepreneurs on the very basic level. If you take away all tactics and mechanics from principally, do you believe that to be true? I do. That is a core belief of mine. That's why I created Results in Advance and all of this kind of stuff that's always governed my marketing behavior. So if we accept that to be true, which we are going to be rewarded proportionally to the amount of value we create, then it's very easy to accept this next bit as true. What you see here is a little pyramid, because this is a pyramid scheme. Not really, I'm kidding. This is the hierarchy of human needs or drivers or whatever, I've forgotten. And so if you look at this, we start with a basic survival, right? Down here, safety and physiological. And then we have like sort of belonging, basically primal reproduction stuff, right? So we need to eat, we need to not get killed, we need to reproduce, and then we get into stuff that's a little bit more kind of, this is where most people are. We want to feel good about ourselves, and we want the significance, right? Respect of others, respect by others, etc. And then like people say, hey, when you really get past all of this and you're a more evolved person, you reach the self-actualization stage, and that's where we're deliberately creative and spontaneous, and we don't have prejudice and all of this kind of stuff. And then there is this level above that, which is called transcendence. And transcendence, so they say, is where we now have reached the point where we want to help others get here, right? So if you're at this highest level of like our psychological evolution, according to, people who know what they're talking about, this transcendence level is you want to now reach and help people move up this towards self-actualization. You want to now basically contribute to the world, right? So this is our most powerful driver psychologically, is this drive to really genuinely contribute and help others, right? And so if you're in the middle of the Amazon and you're starving, that's not going to be your drive, but once you kind of get everything taken care of, this is where it really becomes. So the question now is, all right, if we accept that, mankind's greatest and most powerful need and our most powerful driver is to ultimately help others, What would then happen if we just jumped ahead and made that our focus? So if we made that if we became that, like we made that our focus, is it possible that all of the other needs, significance, prosperity, like everything else would be met by default, right? I submit to you that it is possible if you have that transcendence as your driver, which is ultimately to serve, and you really have it, you basically have reached like the highest level in the video game, and therefore all of the other levels are just going to be completed. That's the theory here, and this is what I've experienced on an ongoing basis. Like, I'm not perfect by any means, but ever since I started thinking this way, life has really changed. So let me give it a little bit easier to sort of grasp and start giving you some tactics now. So first of all, true or false? We're supposed to contribute to the world, not take away from it, right? Well, true. Obviously, our highest calling is to contribute, right? The highest people that like you really get there, those are the ones who contribute the most to the world. As entrepreneurs, we are rewarded directly in proportion to the amount of value we contribute to the world, right? So your true identity is really based on how you're supposed to contribute to the world. So to find that and to prove it, because the question becomes, how do I find my true identity, right? Here's the question. Here's the reverse engineering question. Let's say that all other needs are met, right? So if everything else has already fallen in place, let's say you're already rich, you have all the significance you need, you're famous if you want to be or you're not, everybody loves you, you're safe and secure, your family is safe, everything's cool, right? You're a billionaire. You got all the money you can stand, right? And whatever, you're like beloved by everybody, okay? And so we're in this glorious state here. Now, what do you do? Well, you're obviously you want to help others. So how would you help mankind? Now, remember, you've got money, you have love, you have respect, you have safety. You don't have magic powers. You still have to do something. You can't press a button and like cure cancer or whatever, right? We can't like just end world hunger by just thinking about it. We actually have to do something. But all your other needs are met, right? So everything, you got plenty of money, your family's happy. So all you have to focus on is your contribution. If that was the case, how would you contribute? So personally, when I thought about it and really got into this sort of thing, my answer was, well, I would expand my enterprise so I could provide more jobs and therefore reach more people and share what I've learned with as many people as possible. And I would take every bit of entrepreneurial insight ever recorded by myself or others, and I'd catalog it and organize it and make it simple and accessible to everybody. And I'd create systems and institutions that would be able to share this knowledge in my absence for generations to come, so that it would be much greater than me personally, with the overall mission being to empower entrepreneurs globally to continue, so they can continue to be rewarded by providing even more value to the world. So it becomes like this, this cycle of very goodness. So that is like the dream, right? So if that's my answer to that question. If I had billions and everything was cool, that's what I would do. So now when you answer that question of like, what would you do in this perfect environment? The real question, and this is how you uncover your true identity, is who do you need to be in order to do that? In order to do that greatest mission, who do you need to become? For me, the answer is the Atlas self-identity, right? With the Atlas self-identity. Now, here's the big deal. Once you understand that and you actually deliberately become that person who can do the highest possible calling, all the other stuff on that pyramid of needs, like significance and prosperity, that falls into place. I mean, it doesn't like instantly, you have to do things, but the doing of the things is no longer that difficult. Your mind doesn't get screwed up on overwhelm, on stressing out, on procrastination and distraction, because you're now operating with a different operating system. You have upgraded everything by changing your self-image. You say, okay, if this is the person I need to be, I'm going to give that person a name. I'm going to strive to be that person. And just recognizing that will start making changes in how you think and how you behave. Like, for example, I don't procrastinate at all. It's just not in alignment with my identity. It's not because I'm so great. It's because that's just not what I do anymore. Ain't got to do it. It just never even occurs to me. I get overwhelmed sometimes. I don't stay overwhelmed because my mind focuses on solutions instead of problems, because I genuinely believe that I am this Atlas identity, and we as Atlases, the Atlas solves problems. Got to. How else are you going to take care of everybody? I really take a lot of pride in taking care of people. I don't have doubt or fear because I know I can get the job done. If business goes away tomorrow and everything fails, I know I can build it again because I have this self-identity. So when you uncover who your true identity really is, that's just the first step, right? Like just, if you did that exercise with me and you say, okay, this is my self-identity, like you're going to feel better and you will see an improvement, but it's not going to be like life is totally different. You have to work on it. You got to cultivate that. And the biggest contributor to cultivating that is to understand the power of input. All right. So when you make the decision of this is who I'm supposed to be, this is the self-image that I want to have, right? Now we have to understand how to start cultivating that through the power of input. So first thing we got to do is you got to recognize what's happening to you. Every minute of every day, other people are trying to change you and get you to do what they want. And this, you see your ads, emails, friends, text, social media, the freaking telephone, like constantly you are bombarded with distraction, and the distraction is always conform to my agenda, ignore yours, period, right? Even a buddy texts you and says, hey, you want to go eat? Their agenda is go eat. They are trying to get you to do what they want to do. The ads are basically telling you, you need to have this thing so you can be like the identity presented by this ad, right? And on top of that, every minute of every day, other people are telling you about what's wrong. Turn on the news. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, right? You know this. Turn on the news. Look on Facebook. Very rarely do you see people saying, here's all the cool stuff that's going on Facebook. Instead, is here's what's wrong. Here's the political candidate I hate. Here's why, you better believe the way I do, etc. Right? All of this is constantly bombarding you. And basically this input is training your mind. It's training you to focus on two things. Number one, what other people want you to do and to be. Okay? Period. I mean, that is hammered into you. You need to be like this. I mean, there have been commercials that say, be like Ike or whatever the thing was. I forgot. That's embarrassing because I'm in advertising. But nonetheless, you're constantly bombarded with what other people want you to do and be. And you're constantly bombarded and trained to focus on what's wrong or what could potentially go wrong. And what happens is you're subconsciously and also consciously getting the message from all of this input that A, you're not good enough, and B, you're not safe. And that forces a different identity on you. Remember, we will believe what we are told if told often enough. I mean, I'm over here 6'2", in excellent shape. I'm not in excellent shape anymore, although I'm in pretty good shape now because I work out a lot, but I used to be in like really good shape. And I thought I was small and weak because I was told I was small and weak. I mean, it's ridiculous. You could look at yourself in the mirror and your brain will tell you you're seeing something else because of what's going into your mind all the time. So if we understand this, that our input directly affects our identity, our self-image, whether consciously or unconsciously, whether overtly or unintentionally, we can stop it. And the way to do it is through a technique that I created called the hierarchy of focus. And then, so I probably should come up with a different name for this, the anti-weirdness process. I want to teach them to you right now here. So hierarchy of focus works like this. Step one, you identify the categories of people who are actually important to you in your life, okay? Because it ain't going to be everybody. Step two, rank those categories in order of importance. Step three, ignore everything outside of those categories. Sounds easy, and it is easy once you make the conscious decision. By the way, it's easier to uphold the conscious decision if you make it from your proper identity. So here are mine. Number one, God, real important. Don't want to go against what I believe God to want me to do, right? I mean, he says things like you should not, kill people and things like that. Real big one. All right. Number two, my family. All right. So obviously pretty important. Super. Number three, friends and advisors. I view advisors as people who I might not be friends with, but I count on for counseling. Like Rick Warren, for example, huge influence on me. Don't know him personally. Not friends, but still count him as an advisor. Dan Kennedy, huge influence. I'm kind of friends with Dan, but more of an advisor. You get it. Now there's customers, right? Super important. Customers, really, really important. By the way, on this friends thing, I don't mean people who I'm friends with I mean like my actual friends, of which I have like maybe 3. Okay, that's really super important. Other folks, I kind of know them, I like them, whatever. But if I needed a kidney or needed to borrow money or needed help going to the airport or whatever, probably they wouldn't pick up the phone, and that's okay. I might not do it for them. So when I say friends, I mean really like who really counts. Okay, finally customers, and then prospects, right? And this is really it, and this is the hierarchy. Okay, so guess what? If they're outside of this circle, they ain't getting in. So we got really 2 categories of people in the world: those who are worthy of focus and those who are not. Okay, and so here's everyone who's worthy of my focus personally. All right, here's who's not. People on Facebook. Someone wants to say bad things about me on Facebook. It used to bother me. Like, how did that person say that? I'm going to argue with them, or I'm going to hit refresh a million times and see if someone else has argued with them. Now I could care less because they're not in here. Right now, if they're a customer or something, worthy of focus. But if they're not, whatever, no problem. People on Twitter, I ain't even on Twitter. People who are not your family, people who are not your friends, people who are not your target market, right? We think we screw this up all the time as marketers, by the way. We think, oh, everyone's going to think X, Y, Z. It doesn't matter what everyone thinks. It only matters what these people think in terms of business. True prospects and customers, right? Like a business opportunity, get rich quick person could be watching this presentation and hate me and think I'm terrible. Doesn't matter to me. They're not a prospect of mine. They're not in my target market. I don't want them as a customer. You understand? So people who are not your customers, like all these people, you could just stop listening to them. You could cut them off. You can uninstall Facebook from your telephone, which I did. Major boost in productivity, by the way. You can turn off the news. You can filter what you allow into your mind, because what you allow into your mind controls your self-image, which drives every single thing that you do. So now that we know that and understand this, the second phase here is the anti-weirdness process, right? So let's say something happens where you've got like some negativity coming in from someone who's within your hierarchy of focus. Well, the first thing we do, you got weirdness, right? We'll just use a professional term. Weirdness, stress, overwhelm, fear, whatever is coming from this external source telling you, you better watch out, this is bad, you're wrong, you need to be like me, you're not good enough, whatever it is, okay? We'll just call that weirdness. First thing you do, you say, okay, well, who is specifically giving me this input, right? And the word specifically is very powerful. Otherwise, our brain will default to everyone and everything. 2 big lies we tell ourselves. Everyone says this. Everything is this. It's not no. Specifically, who? So we say, all right, who specifically? And then we go, all right, are they in the hierarchy or not? Are they God, friends, family, advisors, customers, or prospects? If they are, okay. If they're not, well, if they're not in the hierarchy, then who gives a shit, right? Ignore them or ban them from your life because they don't count to you. They are trying to conform you to their agenda. You have a higher purpose. You don't need to mess with them. If they are in your hierarchy of focus, let's say they are someone that actually matters, then you say, okay, well, what specifically is going on here? What is the issue? Okay, do we have a problem, etc.? And then we say, is this problem fixable? Right? Or is it even real? Okay. Now, like if someone in my hierarchy of focus, like if my mother who's in my family says, hey, you're not good enough at marketing, I'm going to say, okay, that's weirdness. She's in my hierarchy. She's pretty importantly, she's got this thing she's telling me. It's not fixable because she's wrong. I'm going to let it go. Right? She would never say that, by the way. She's very supportive, very good mother. But you know what I mean? If there's nothing you can do about it, then what's the point of worrying about it? You got to just, okay, let it go. Next. Okay. If it is fixable, guess what? You begin fixing it, right? And here's the steps to begin fixing it. Now, remember here, of all the weirdness in the world, only stuff that has gone through all these filters actually gets paid attention to. So you're going to have a million sources of weirdness here. Only like 1% is actually going to make it down here. You can just let go of everything else because it's outside of your hierarchy of focus. So to begin repair, you identify the specific issue and who the issue is with. Number 2, you write down the 3 most impactful things you can do to fix a problem. Step 3, you do at least one of them immediately. That is all. That's all you got to do. Everything else after that is pure momentum. Here's why it works. The anti-weirdness process allows you to ignore, let go, or repair, right? Those are your options when you have stressors, when you have things that are messing you up. Those are your only three options, period. Okay, that's it. I mean, don't you agree? You either ignore it, you can acknowledge it and then let it go, or you can fix it. That's really all you, I mean, otherwise you can just worry about it incessantly and ruin your life. So once you do any of these three things, your mind will stop focusing on the issue, and your mind's like a computer. Every area of focus, whether it's conscious focus or not, is like a program running in the background and using up your mind's RAM memory. So you know what I mean? So it's like you're all on computers, so you understand, right? If you have 9 million applications running, your computer is going to run like garbage. So taking the action to either ignore it or let it go or repair it shuts down that program and frees up your RAM memory, which therefore eliminates stress, worry, and overwhelm from your life. And since stress, worry, and overwhelm and what if is 90% of our conscious thought, basically what we're doing is we're doubling our mental power. That allows you to focus all of your attention on your most powerful why and stepping into your true identity. So you see, it's actually much simpler than you realize. So the path to do all of this is as follows. And incidentally, I'm going to make a pitch to you now. I'm going to offer you a training for free. So hang on, you're about to see the weird mirror image thing here. And let's see, let me do this. Don't click on this yet. All right, you should see a little offer thingy, but don't enroll in this thing yet, because I want to tell you what it is and what the conditions of the offer are. Okay, let's see here. And now that should be working for you. I think y'all still with me? I think we're still good. All right, I think you're still here. Let me look. This delay drives me crazy. Yeah, good Lord, we still have a lot of people here. All right, so here's what I have for you that I think can be helpful to you. All right, let me get back on over here. All right, so I've created this webinar, as you could imagine, is a preview webinar for a course that I've created called The Path. And the reason I created this course is my work with my Inner Circle members. These issues that I talked about bother a lot of them. And so I care very deeply about them. So I created a course to help them with all of this stuff. And The Path is an online live training over the course of several weeks that I want to give you for free as a bribe to get you to become an Inner Circle member. So let me tell you what the Path training is. So I really essentially believe this is what I'm going to share with you is the pathway from being stuck to being unstuck, the path from overwhelm to a frictionless, a friction-free existence, basically. So the first thing we talked about today, and I sort of touched on it, is to uncover your most powerful why, like the real thing. The next thing we want to do is uncover the true identity. So I gave you a preview of how that works. There's a lot more in-depth work to do. But basically, if every other need was met, how would you serve mankind? And then who would you need to be in order to do that? Guess what? The answer to that question is really who you're supposed to be. That's who subconsciously you want to be. And once you step into that, then everything else begins to fall in place. But it doesn't just happen immediately. We have to work on it. So the next logical step now is to control input and protect that identity through the hierarchy of focus, which again, we touched on briefly. The next step is now, once we're doing that, we have this new identity and this new drive, this new why, this new clarity. But guess what? You've also got all of this old crap that you're still going to be reacting to. And it's normal. I mean, everybody has been through their own stuff. Okay, this is not news to you. So you've been programmed, whether deliberately, probably not deliberately. I don't think really people are out to hurt any of us, but we have been programmed to believe certain ways, and we weren't paying attention. And we believe a lot of things that frankly are not helpful to us. So the next step is to find out what this is. I gave you some ideas on how to do that today, and eliminate these beliefs from your life and protect yourself from letting them come back in. All right. Next thing we need to do is now install what I refer to as a new mental operating system. So we now replace these with new patterns of thought that you want, new areas of focus that you want. And all of this, by the way, I want to let you know up front, all of this, it requires effort. This isn't like, let's just sing Kumbaya and everything changes. I work on this every single day. But it's very, very rewarding. It's the most rewarding and impactful work I've ever done in my life. So once we've done those 5 steps, uncover your real hierarchy of what you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be, cut out all of the crap, only let the good stuff in, get rid of the bad past beliefs, and install a new mental operating system. Now it's time to become tactical as it applies to our business. So I call this building the war chest. So the thing about what most of us do, and I've done this personally, so I'm certainly not coming to you from an ivory tower, is we have learned so much stuff about our businesses that we, as entrepreneurs and as people who want to achieve things, try to do it all. And as a result of doing that, accomplish way less than we could if we just got rid of like 80% of it that doesn't really do us any good, and take all of this new power and clarity and only focus on the 20% that matter. So during this phase of our training together, what we will do is we will find the things that you're focused on that aren't destructive, but just really don't actually make you any significant money or give you any significant process, and we'll get rid of them. And we'll figure out what they are. We'll cut them out of your daily routines, which now you've got all this power from this. Now we have this war chest of only the stuff that actually does things for you, whether that's a specific ability or specific tasks or a specific area of your business. And once we're done with that, the next force is the reinforcement loop. And if you recall from very, very early in our conversation today, your results reinforce the identity. So it becomes this constant ongoing loop. So you get stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, there are deliberate habits that I've created that I want to share with you that reinforces this. Like I said, I didn't just, Natalia wasn't in a coma one day and I said, okay, I'm going to shift into this Atlas, and everything became okay just because of that decision. I had to do all of this stuff and continue to do it. There is no panacea. We don't take a pill or go through a training and it just sticks forever. We always have to work on it, but it's the best and most rewarding work you'll ever do. And it's fun and it's all about you. And that training called The Path is free. This is a 5-week online training delivered live by me. So every time we'll have Q&A and I'll be on here for you and I'll answer your questions and I'll help you do everything live, like I am live right now, by the way. It's 11:37 on the 2nd, 11:32 my time. And I'm giving this to you for free, and I'm giving it to you as a blatant bribe so you can try my new coaching program called the Frank Kern Inner Circle. And the Frank Kern Inner Circle is something I started in August, and I'm very, very proud of it. We have a great community of entrepreneurs like you who like talking about this stuff and doing a lot of business. And here's how I support you as a member of the Inner Circle. Every other Wednesday, we do live video conferences. So this is just a simple screencast, but every other Wednesday, we step into the studio that I invested around $80,000 into building and signed a $400,000 lease on. And I come to you live via video. And during those conferences, I share with you what's working, and I also review your site if you need it. I give you help with your offer. I help you tweak your copy. I help you improve your sales process. And really anything you need, we do it together live. And we do that every other Wednesday. And when I say we do it together, I mean, if you want to come on camera, we have the technology where you can actually be on camera, split screen with me. I'm looking at your stuff. It's literally like you're right there. It's cool. It's like CNN or something. It's really, really neat. And it's very, very beneficial to you because you're getting positive help constantly. Our business is a lonely business. And during these calls and during these live video conferences, I work with you and help you genuinely. And every month, I also send you in the mail a package with secret documents and secret hard drives. And included in that package is something called Get Money Now. And Get Money Now is a fully deployable marketing campaign in a box. And here's why I'm giving that to you, by the way. I think that remember I said we have this thing about war chest during our training for the path, and we're doing all this stuff and only about 20% of it really matters. I believe that for most people, I'm going to be a little bit better at building campaigns and writing the copy and building the frameworks and offers. So my mission here is to take that off of your plate and do as much of that for you as possible So you can focus your efforts on part of your 20% where your true power really, really lies, like servicing your customer and being helpful to your customers. This is how I contribute to you, so you can focus on contributing to your people. Does that make sense? So during or in that, I mail you the blueprints, the process maps. I walk you through how to implement the campaign. I give you a video, or I give you a hard drive, a special hard drive every month. I physically mail this to you, and I personally show you how to use this marketing campaign. That you get the templates and the swipe files for all of the copy. That means the emails, the sales letters, the video. You get it all. So it is a complete framework, diagram, blueprint, process map, swipe file of an A to Z marketing campaign every single month. So you're not going to have to wake up and go, well, what are we going to do this month? Like, you know what to do because I'm just giving it to you. So you can focus on what you do best, your unique power that is of most value to your marketplace. Because doesn't it make sense? We're paid in the amount of value that we give to our marketplace. So let me help you focus on delivering your value by helping you do the marketing there. So I'm also giving you a newsletter. I mail that to you as well. Each one's about 50 to 70 pages, depending on the month. And every newsletter reveals the results of the massive tests that I'm running every single month. I show you what's working, how I'm creating extra revenue, where the new traffic sources are, and more. And if you've followed me for a while, you know I don't do like a lot of affiliate driven stuff. Everything I do is advertising and like the real world. So every month I'm spending between $60,000 and $120,000 in buying ads and testing new funnels and new traffic sources. And I'm giving you, here's what I spent, here's what we made, here's what worked, here's what didn't work, here's what's worth modeling. And that's up to the minute. It's constant and it's new. And as you know, selling things online constantly changes. So you want what's working right now versus what worked 6 months ago. So it's really like an up-to-the-minute field report sent from the front lines of the cutting edge of internet marketing. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I test new offers, create new campaigns, write new ads and sales letters, and basically grow money. It's like getting a call from me personally every month, giving you a behind-the-scenes rundown of everything that's making the most money right now, and then showing you how to model it in your business quickly. And to really make it useful to you, you're also getting a hard drive every month with videos of me personally going over the examples of what worked. So not only do I write about it, but I take you behind the scenes on my computer and say, okay, here's the web page, here's the layout, here's where the traffic came in, here's the ad that worked, etc. I'm literally, it's like you're here working with me. So the only other way you would have access to this information would be if you worked in my office shoulder to shoulder with me every single day. So you're likely wondering about the cost. As a member, you get everything: the live video conferences, the Get Money Now marketing campaign in a box, the Look Over My Shoulder newsletter, all of the hard drives with the confidential videos where I personally help you implement everything. That's all $397 per month. There's, of course, no contract. You can cancel tomorrow if you want, but you can keep the path for free. And the path is a live training. It's 5 weeks. We meet once a week online, and I teach you all of the stuff that I just walked you through in depth, all of those steps. I teach you that every week, and that is yours free as a bribe to get you to say, I'll try this inner circle. You know what? I've liked working with Frank today, maybe seeing him every other Wednesday and having him do these campaigns and mail them to me and helping me in my business. That might be something I want. So I'm giving you that training free as a bribe to get you to try out membership. So let's talk about that membership dues. Like I said, it's $397 a month. It's not prohibitively expensive, but it's enough to keep like knuckleheads at bay. I don't want a giant membership base because I do want to physically, or not physically, but personally interact with you during our video conferences. And I can't do that if it's huge. So the right person, by the way, that cost should really be negligible. I mean, think about this for a minute. Would it be worth $397 to have me create a marketing campaign for your business this month? I mean, don't you think that if you deployed a campaign I created, you would get a positive return on that investment? I believe you would. I don't know your business. I don't know what you're selling, but man, if you got something good, I believe that, like most people, you would come to me and you say, you know what, that campaign, I implemented it, it worked pretty good. We're in the black now. This is sweet. Everything else is gravy. I get that a lot, and that's what I want to get from you. You probably tell me that everything else after that one campaign was pretty much just gravy, and that's why I'm sending you the complete marketing campaign in a box every month. I want to really ensure that this is a no-brainer for you, and that's how I know how to do it, to just give you something like, okay, man, here, run this. Here's the framework. Here's what to do. Bam. Let's see what happens. So should be a no-brainer. And plus, I take a lot of pride in helping you. So that's why I send you that. Think about it this way. Would it be worth $397 for you to come spend an entire month looking over my shoulder? Like if I said, okay, man, you can come to the office anytime you want, look over my shoulder, ask me what's working, and I'll show you. Would that be worth $397? Well, having me walk you through every email and every ad and every sales letter and personally showing you what's working best and helping you deploy that in your business is what I do in the newsletter. Right? It's the same thing. That newsletter and hard drive I mail you are meant to give you that same experience. It's just condensed. So you don't have to wait a month, because half of what I'm doing is hitting refresh and, doing technical stuff that's a pain in the ass. So I'm just giving you the meat of here's exactly what worked. Here's what didn't work. So you don't want to do this. Here's what to focus on. Here's something else to consider, by the way. Would it be worth $397 to jump online with me twice a month and have me review your marketing? That's exactly what we do in the live video conferences. Like literally, you come on camera, like you tell me, you say, okay, I want to show up on today's call and here's what I need help with. I think about it in advance. You come on camera, I walk you through it, boom, we knock it out. So it is literally, personally, I'm helping you every other Wednesday. And plus, if you don't want to come on camera and you just want to see what's working for other people, you can see your fellow members and get ideas from what's working from them as well. And our membership is cool. We have a really, really friendly, helpful group of people who are very like-minded. In fact, they are the inspiration for what I shared with you today, because our last call, we were talking about what to do when you get overwhelmed and stuff. I said, you know what, man, I'm going to really just dedicate a solid training for this and build it for the members. And that's why I've created the path. I did it for them. And so I want to give this to you as well when you become a member. So if any of those scenarios sound like maybe they're valuable to you, like maybe, I don't mean, how are you going to know until you try? Then this is a no-brainer. And that's why you should accept my bribe and become a member today. Remember, there's no contract. You can cancel at any time. In fact, I'll tell you how to cancel now. It is support@frankkernhelpdesk.com. When you send an email there, you'll get a little automated reply that says, hey, we got your support ticket. You're logged into Zendesk. That's the thing that we use for support. The guy who you'll talk to, his name is Tyler. You don't actually have to talk to him. You just send an email. And if you want to cancel, say, I want to cancel, and he'll cancel you. And that's all. We ain't going to call you. I don't have a phone room that's going to bother you and say, hey, well, you can't. Like, none of that. It's okay, no problem. Some people like it. Some people it's not for them. There's only one way to know, right? Plus, you can still keep the training and the path for free. And there's also something interesting about the cost of membership. If you do the math here, $397 a month is $13.05 a day. So I got on Google because I've just amused myself here. And I did a search for what can you buy for $13.05. And the best answer I found, someone actually had a thing on Yahoo Answers for this, was you can buy 1,305 Tootsie Rolls at a high school cafeteria. So someone had gone on Yahoo Answers, asked that question, and then that was the answer that someone had. So I was like, what? Don't you guys have jobs? Like, who would sit around and think about that? So anyway, which would you rather have? 1,305 Tootsie Rolls and the massive dental bill and agony that follows, or a ready-to-go marketing campaign created by me personally? I mean, let's face it. $13.05 is not going to change your life. That's the daily cost, quote unquote, of being a member. $13.05. Imagine this. Next month, let's say, it's February, it's mid-February. You look at your statement on your bank account and you have $397 less dollars. Would you really even notice it if you weren't looking for it? Like, is that really going to make a big, significant dent in your life? Probably not. And if you're telling yourself it is, then you're probably got a real problem going on here mentally. Because if you don't feel like you can replace $397 or more with working together, or even just on your own with some help, with someone being in your corner, then we really have some serious work to do. So $13.05 today, that's what it would cost you daily to become a member. That's really not going to change your life. I think the work that we do together can change your business. I mean, you are here because you want to experience less stress, less overwhelm, and more prosperity in your business. And ultimately, I believe you want that so you can help more people. Whether you think about it helping people or not, some folks are, I just want the money. Well, trust me, you're really driven because you want to help other people. That's our highest calling. I think the work we do together can help you do that. So I'm willing to bribe you to try it. Take the path. That's a live class. I'm teaching you all of this in-depth stuff about how to shift the identity, how to eliminate these problems from your life. Become a member. Say maybe. You'll be a small part or a part of a small group of really cool high performers across multiple industries. We all share incredibly valuable information with each other that the rest of the world just doesn't see. You'll get the latest cutting edge marketing strategies and tactics before your competition ever knows what hit them, if they ever even know about it in the first place. And you'll be able to take fresh new campaigns that are created and tested by me personally and plug them into your business every month. Plus, you get to connect with me and your fellow members every other week live on video conferences so you can get the help, guidance, and focus that you need. So once you accept this bribe, go ahead and go through the path training with me. I give that to you free when you become a member. And by the way, that training is not for sale. That is the only way to take that training. I don't intend to ever sell it, as it's only for members. My entire business is focused only on the membership. So if you found what we talked about today to be helpful and you want a deeper dive, I gave you the preview today, the overlying principles. If you want to really apply this stuff and get rid of all of this baggage that's freaking you out, then let's get to work. Let's do it. Remember, if you become a member, you're not obligated. There's no contract. You can cancel anytime. Support at Frank Kern Help Desk. Tyler will simply hit the cancel button and say, okay, you're canceled. Thanks so much. And that's it. It's not a big deal. You're not stuck. You can cancel tomorrow if you want to cancel. I don't think you will, but if you do, you're cool, right? That's not, you know me, I'm not like one of these guys that's going to mess with you. And you can still keep the path training for free. Speaking of gifts, there's one more thing I want to show you, by the way. I have created something for all new members. It is called a new member welcome kit. Here it is. I love taking terrible screenshots of myself from videos. So that's, I don't even know what to say about that picture there. But anyway, that's me holding it right there. That comes with 4 additional trainings I've created just for members. And these are actual physical trainings. And these are really meant to act as your ongoing library to give you all the skill sets that you need on an ongoing basis. The first one is called the Ultimate Offer. Ultimate Offer is a manual, and I give you a hard drive for it as well with videos. And what this does is I have boiled down the process of making a pitch to 12 steps. So if you ever look at a blank piece of paper to write a sales letter, or if you consider doing a webinar, or you want to do a speech and you need to sell stuff, but you get weirded out about, like, how do I actually put this pitch together? There's a formula for it, and it's called the Ultimate Offer, and it is process driven. Everything I do is process driven because I want stuff to be able to work without me. I want to be able to pass on a process to people and have them be able to succeed without it having to rely on me. So this is very much a fill in the blanks type of process for how to make an offer. So if you need to sell things and you don't feel like your pitches are up to par, or if you're intimidated by writing pitches or writing sales letters or emails or closing on a webinar and a sales video or whatever, the Ultimate Offer formula will help you. And I want to compound the power of that. See, the thing is, once you have made a pitch, you have really just started the pitch. So once you offer something and say, okay, here's the thing, here's the price, here's the guarantee, that's really just the beginning. So if you want to compound the power of any offer, I want to give you something called close stacking. That's what I teach you here in the second training that comes on your new member welcome kit. Close stacking uses 12 different closing techniques to restate and reclose the same offer during the same pitch. So what this allows you to do is take the power of that offer and compound its effectiveness by continuing to sell during the same pitch. I've actually used 3 of the close stacks today during my close for this training here and becoming a member. There are 12. During this training, and in this training, I'm giving you, again, you're getting the workbook along with the frameworks, the blueprints, the scripts, and everything. I walk you through all 12 of these close stacks, and I give you the scripting for them. So I give you examples and scripts and the templates. So here's how to actually use this for your business based on what it is you want to sell. So you could sort of increase the power of your offer by 12 times by adding all of these 12 stacks on top of any offer. It is extremely powerful. I don't give it to anyone except new members. Now, once you have a good pitch and you have a good closing system, so you've really got the best offer you can make, now it's time to start drawing people to you. So I've created 2 trainings. These 2 go hand in hand. They're called Power Positioning and the Big Idea. And the purpose of these is to draw people to you through positioning in your marketplace and through advertising. So you ever notice how some people Like, I mean, let's be candid with each other. All right. So have you ever seen a competitor and you're like, man, I'm so much better than that person at what I do, but they seem to be drawing all of the customers and they're getting all the attention, but damn it, they're not nearly as good at this as I am. And frankly, it's frustrating. I mean, if you've ever experienced that, the reason that they're getting the people is because of their positioning, probably in their marketplace. So in power positioning, I built this to specifically help entrepreneurs who are in the area of selling softer services, such as coaches or consultants or professional service providers, or people who sell information, like thought leader type people. It is built to help you create a personal brand and positioning around you that is magnetic to your ideal customers. So just the people you want, so that they will like you before they ever see your pitch. That's the purpose of this. The big idea is a separate training. This comes with its own manual and hard drive, by the way, with videos. I walk you through everything. And the big idea, what I do is I teach you how to take your positioning and wrap a big idea around it in the form of an advertising campaign so that you can now become a truly global brand if you want to. And I don't mean using image advertising that doesn't work. We're still going to use direct response. But this is essentially the framework of how I build my ads to pre-indoctrinate people from the ads themselves to create the positioning just from the ad. So by the time they see the offer, they like me and they trust me, and I've already helped them and I've already built goodwill. So they're more inclined to buy and be good customers. So that's why I teach you in the big idea. The final training, as I call it, the 6 steps to scaling big online. And this is specifically for people who want to take their business and grow their global brand and identity huge and really, really get, for lack of a better word, famous within their marketing or within their market. I don't mean famous like the Kardashians, but very, very well known and respected. So there's a process and it's called scaling your business. Like, remember I told you earlier, we spend between $60,000 and $120,000 monthly on ads. Right now we're testing Facebook, and we're crushing Facebook, and we're crushing YouTube as well, although not as well as we're crushing Facebook yet. I don't start out, I don't just go and say, hey, fellas, let's just spend 120 grand. We start very small, and we've built up to being able to spend that and do that at a front end profit. So I spend 120, I get more than 120 back in the same month, and I continue to get money. I teach you how I've built all of that and how the process works and how to roll out ad campaigns during this training, the 6 magic steps to scaling big. So if you want to do that and grow that positioning and grow that brand profitably through advertising on a massive scale, that's what this training does for you. I'm giving it to you free with your new member welcome kit. Here's a little image of everything that comes in the new member welcome kit. So this is what I'm sending you in the mail right here. This is what you're getting in the mail from me as a new member, in addition to, we're going to go through the path together. That's live training. We're going to do that every week. And that is great. And plus, of course, we see each other every other Wednesday on our members only video conferences. And I send you your newsletter every single month as a member, as well as your Get Money Now marketing campaign. So it's a pretty serious amount of bribery that I'm giving you to get you to try becoming a member today. And I really think you should accept this offer because it is very, very good. You cannot get the path training anywhere, period. It is not for sale. So the training that I'm going to give you, the path, to help you uncover the new identity and actually remove these roadblocks and be able to help people like you're supposed to, like you want to, and be rewarded for it, is unavailable at any price anywhere, period. This is a very limited offer because the class is being taught live. So I can't do it after the class starts. And in fact, I'm going to stop screen sharing now. So boom. All right, I'll stop that screen sharing. That's the end of that presentation, by the way. Let me tell you when that class starts here. So the reason this is limited is because I'm teaching that class live. And I teach, the very first class is on, where are you? On the 16th. So the path training starts on the 16th. So by the time class starts, you will have already gotten your new member welcome kit. You'll be ready to go. We will have been on a members only call together. You participated in one of our video conferences, and we'll be rolling along. So we meet on the 16th. That's week 1. 23rd is week 2. We're meeting live. The 30th is week 3, and February 6th is week 4. And so we have a 4-week training class called The Path. That's what you're getting for free today. I assume, hopefully, I successfully put the little link up there for you to go and enroll if you want to. So now of course, we've been here live the entire time. And let's see if I can answer some questions. So this is really weird. It is like, there's so much stuff coming in here. I'm trying to find actual questions from you. So look at all of these things. My gosh, Chris, I want to be like Michael Jordan. That was that ad campaign. That's pretty cute. Pretty good. Simon says using propaganda to keep people in fear makes people buy stuff. I agree with you, Simon. I wouldn't recommend that though, because I think we can be just as impactful and helpful to others by like empowering them and being cool to them, etc. You know, let's see, Aurora's just texting me here. Okay, link is working. I think I'll come on camera. Let's see here, you poor unsuspecting people. You have to look at me if I can turn my camera on. Let's see here. All right, so, oh, there's the one. Ha! Well, hang on. I got to move this there. Now I can look at you and maintain some kind of eye contact. Hey, good morning, everyone, or afternoon. We have got, this is amazing. We have 548 of you guys are still here. So thank you so much. I was very nervous about creating this class for you today. And I worked on it over the holiday. So it's Christmas and New Year's and everything. Yesterday was my anniversary, by the way. I worked on it all day yesterday, which was probably not the best call. I was like, honey, this is really a big deal. And we have a lot of people registered for this. And I want to do a good job for them. And she's like, man, do you think, baby? I'm proud of you. Go get them. But we did have a good staycation last night. We went and stayed at a little resort here locally, and we chilled out, and then ended up watching the least romantic movie imaginable, which was The Girl on the Train, which got us both totally freaked out. So we had to negate that by watching a little bit of Keeping Up with the Joneses before we fell asleep. But it was a good time. Anyway, let's see if I can get some actual questions. This chat thingy is a little bit hard for me to keep up with here. All right. So I see Simon, Kern University. I think like the chat roll thingy is messed up. I'm just going to roll up here and sort of start looking pretty good. Aurora, if you can push by any chance, push questions to me, that would be great. I mean, Marilyn, this makes so much sense. Rebecca, brilliant. Lynn, thank you, Frank. This is wonderful. Thank you for your clarity. Andrew, this is excellent. Congrats on putting this together. Thank you. Sandy, very nice. She says use the frozen methodology, let it go. That plays constantly in my house. I have a little 2-year-old daughter who loves it. So thank you all for your kind words, but surely I can help someone with the question. All right, let's see. Wow, that was very nice of you. Sarah said this is one of the best webinars I've ever seen. Nice. Okay, let's see. Where are we going? Okay. Damn it, Webinar Jam. It's like these comments, guys, they'll show up in the middle, the new ones, but then it'll default down to where the other one was. Let's see if Aurora can help us out here. I love me some Webinar Jam, but need to learn how to use it better. Okay. Oh, okay. When the offer button is up, you can't ask questions as long as that is. Oh, what do you know? Okay, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to scroll up here. All right, Chris, awesome. That's very inspiring. Thank you. Daryl said, how did the name Atlas come about with your self-identity? Okay, so to be really clear about self-identity, I'm like, see, this is negative self-chatter at its finest. So I'm like, man, if I tell them about this Atlas thing, I'm really concerned that people are going to think I go out and I'm like, look at me, I'm Atlas, I'm great. Remember, we're keeping this. I mean, you can say it to other people if you want to, but it's really for your own mind. So when you create the self-identity, it is basically you're identifying who you want to become, who you need to become in order to achieve everything you want to achieve. And then you give that person a name. So just to be clear, I'm not telling you that you need to go out and say, look at me, I'm great. This is all for your mind. But to answer the question, I got the name from the book, The Atlas Shrugged, which I've never finished. I've read like the first 1,000 pages 1,000,000 times. And then I'm like, this is so good. And then because Ayn Rand gets on these rants and I'm like, you made that point 300 times. But it's always been very impactful to me. I believe that as entrepreneurs and I guess, I mean, it is a bit, we're tooting our own horn here, but I'm talking to a group of entrepreneurs, but I believe that we really carry the weight of the world to a large degree on our shoulders. And when I say our, I mean collectively the global concentration of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs take 100% of the risks. We do 100% of the innovation to create new products. As a result of that risk and innovation, we often don't succeed, which means we experience the majority of the failure and setbacks. And the successful entrepreneurs pay the highest amount of taxes in the world, which therefore contributes the most to society as a whole. And if you think about it, the entrepreneur, because if you accept it to be true that our revenue and our reward is in direct proportion to the value that we provide to the world, then we as entrepreneurs, I don't mean me and you personally, I mean globally entrepreneurs, we provide the most value to the world, not because we're some altruistic, wonderful group of people, but that's how we get rewarded. So I believe that if you take like the embodiment of the entrepreneur, those characteristics, I believe that is Atlas. And so for me, that is something to aspire to. But whatever, this is the boss here, Aurora texting me. She might have said I'd blown it up. Whatever your identity is cool. So I'm not saying, hey, you need to adopt my beliefs or anything like that. Like my story, my beliefs are totally irrelevant to your outcome. Like, so when you go through this process and we work together in the path, it is all 100% about you. I just told you how I came up with this stuff to illustrate the point. But I certainly don't mean that you need to adopt, the Atlas thing or whatever. Okay. So let's see here. So Aurora can read the chats in the control panel, but I can't quite see them in the webinar jam thingy. So she's texted me here. All right. So she says, Tom says, can you advise on moving from a 6 monthly launch strategy to making sales every day? Yes, I can. Absolutely, I can, because I've done that. So we rebuilt our business entirely, moved away from launches in 2011 or 12, I think. That's actually why revenue from 2012 to 13 was okay, but we had the huge growth later because we were dialing in advertising. So I've been where you are. I've been launch dependent and affiliate dependent, and it sucks. And it's more expensive than advertising. So the key to, sorry if I lean back a little bit here. Hope you all can still hear me. The key to making sales every day is to have an automated system that follows up with leads. Okay, so we have two things we can do. We can send traffic to a web page that sells something and hope that we make more in sales and profit than we spent on ads for that day. And that is two things. It is, generally speaking, the least profitable thing that we can do. And it is, generally speaking, the most difficult thing that we can do. So it's like, there's not a lot of incentive to do that, but a lot of people do it. I'm going to write the sales letter. I'm going to send traffic to the sales letter. And that's how my dog business worked. And it's hard as hell to do that. A more efficient thing to do is to give away something for free, typically compelling, of very, very high value, then put those people in a sequence that makes an offer, and then try to sell them something. Now, the big differentiator is to understand that during that process, people are going to naturally and predictably, A, not go click on the stuff that they opted in for, B, not open, read, or click your emails, and C, if they do open, read, and click, they won't buy. Some will, of course, but the majority won't. That's totally normal. Okay, that's like, okay, that's not a big deal. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean you're a bad marketer. It means they are humans. They're on the internet, and it's a very distracting place. So the key to making that work and to making sales every day is, number one, embrace that fact. It's a fundamental truth. Most people aren't going to respond. It's normal. If we embrace that, we know that the real money is in the follow-up. So I created this methodology called behavioral dynamic response, which essentially means you dynamically respond differently to prospects based on their behavior. So for example, if someone opts in to get your report, they go and they watch your free stuff, but they never go to your sales letter. If you monitor that and measure it through automation like Infusionsoft or Drip or whatever, I teach all of this in Inner Circle, by the way. If you identify that behavior, you can then put them in separate follow-ups. So the person who never saw the sales pitch, they watched maybe free video number 1, but they didn't go to see your pitch. They've never seen the offer. We can put them in a totally different new campaign that makes the offer from a different angle, maybe a webinar, maybe straight to a video sales letter. If they did see the offer, but they didn't purchase, we can then put them in a deadline type of follow-up situation that says, hey, the price is going to go up in X days. If you do that, it really does need to go up. And by the way, you can automate that so each individual user can have that experience based on when they come into your funnel. So ultimately, the answer on how to do that is more follow-up. And ideally, you'll have more than one single product, or you'll have continuity. Oh, look at this. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Aurora texted again. Now, this is so classic. You know there's got to be a better way to use Webinar Jam. Especially, I lift weights with Andy Jenkins, the owner of this damn thing, 4 days a week, typically 5, and I have no idea how to use Webinar Jam, which I occasionally even advise them on customer acquisition and retention for that. Okay, let's see here. Ashley says, when does the path begin? All right, y'all, let's see. I will tell you, ma'am, the path training starts on the 16th. It's a Monday. So we're every Monday for 4 weeks, starting on the 16th is when that begins. Of course, it's recorded, and I'll be live every time to answer your questions, and I will have figured out the damn chat by then. And we probably won't have like 1,000 people on either like we've had today. I'm happy that we did have 1,000 people on. That's cool. Okay, so let me get rid of that. So to answer your question, the 16th of January for 4 weeks. So it ends on the 6th there. Okay, all right, I'm back. I had the thing in front of my screen there. Okay, Felicia says, thank you, by the way, Aurora, for doing this and then texting me the questions. Felicia says, what are the other costs we will incur with this program? Funnels, Facebook ads, marketing, etc. Okay, thank you for asking that. And here's what I am interpreting this question as. And this is not me casting judgment or like saying, hey, you're bad or anything. I'm pretty sure a question like that, which is, hey, what other costs do we have with this program, means I don't have a business yet, and I'm not sure what I'm going to have to spend to get a business going. If that is the case, and if that's why you're asking the question, I'm going to ask you to sit membership out. This membership in Kern Inner Circle is really best for people who are actually already going. So no disrespect. I mean, I'd love to have you. I'd love to be able to serve and help you, but I just want you to know that you might be disappointed if you don't have a business, because you'd be like, well, what am I going to apply all this stuff to? You know, like I don't really go into here's how to start a business or anything. It's not my specialty. I'm not that good at it. I'm better at helping establish people move forward. So, that's the answer to one answer to that question. The next thing is, now I'll just actually answer the question. So basically, hey, what other stuff do I need to buy? Well, I'll tell you what tools that we rely on. We spend a tremendous amount of money on marketing, like I mentioned, between 60 and 120 grand, depending on season. So typically during like Thanksgiving, late August or late October through right before Christmas, we'll dial it back a little bit because retail kills us, you know. But typically speaking, we'll spend a lot. I don't recommend it, but you should have an advertising budget set aside to as much as you can tolerate, and you should be prepared for it not to work in the beginning. If you've never advertised, it's always a pain in the ass, and it takes multiple tweaks to get it going. For the tools, we use Infusionsoft for automation. There's a great alternative called drip.co that I've been testing that I like a lot. So that does our email follow-up and all of that kind of stuff. I use ClickFunnels as a page builder a lot. I like ClickFunnels. And really, those are the big ones, you know. Yeah, that's kind of the main stuff there. I use Webinar Jam, obviously, to do webinars, but if you're not using webinars, then you don't need to use that. So that's about it. We keep it simple. Remember I was talking about War Chest? You got 9 million options, and then we went through all of this stuff, and we're like, okay, here's the stuff that actually matters, you know, and we dialed it down pretty tight. So that's pretty sweet. Okay, let's see here. Ashley, I got you. Chris says, what classes and who have you read to learn about human psychology? Well, I know Tony personally, but we never talk about human psychology. We always talk about just fun stuff. But I did go to his UPW thing, and I read 2 of his books, and I probably learned a lot from my mom because she was a family therapist and stuff. But I haven't read much about it. I just sort of went and said, okay, what has helped me? And can I create a framework out of this? And I'll see if it helps other people. And I hope it does, but I'm by no means an expert on like personal development or anything like that. And I often think that a lot of that stuff is crutchy, you know what I mean? So I'm more of a, hey, let's be self-sufficient, let's figure it out, and let's just get to work. In terms of marketing and stuff, from the human psychology thing, I learned a lot from Dan Kennedy. I read like some of the only business books I've read were by him. Claude Hopkins, Scientific Advertising, was another very, very profound one for me personally. And then David Ogilvy, who doesn't talk about human psychology as much, but talks about advertising as a craft. He was very influential for me and continues to be. Okay. Mark says, I want to sell my books online. Are you able to help in that respect? My answer to that is yes, I am. And the first way I want to help you is if you're wanting to sell books through advertising online, it's going to be very difficult to do that profitably unless there's another thing you can sell after they purchase the book. So it's very, very difficult to do any type of business profitably online or off where the profit margins and the average unit of sale is very low if you're incurring advertising expense, right? So if it's costing you, $10 to acquire a customer and you're selling the book for 15 and your shipping is like 13, you're making $2, and it's hard to do that. So it's totally cool to do that if there's something else they can buy after the book. So the first thing I would do to help you is say, okay, what does the book go over and what other stuff can we give them to help them get the results that the book talks about? So weird answer to the question, but I don't want to be like, yeah, dude, I can totally help you, and then not tell you the real truth of the matter, which is books online are great. Need to sell other stuff besides books in order to actually make that very, very profitable. Book is usually going to be a loss leader. Mine is. I advertise a book, I lose money when I sell the book, but I make more because of the thing I said earlier about having the automated follow-up system. Okay, I promise you I'm not texting my friends. I'm reading these questions from Aurora because for some reason I'm like not good at webinar jam today. Okay, so Mark says, can you send issues internationally? Yeah, I would say about 35% of our member base is international, which is cool, right? Awesome. Okay, so now those were those questions. No idea what time it is. Oh, it's 12:16. I'm going to eat lunch here in a minute. Let's see. Now I see questions here. Okay. Oh, maybe Aurora flagged them. Okay, so this is from Mike says, artists selling artist membership, would that work with webinars? Nobody's doing membership with limited editions, 2,000 per canvas, maybe 300 art collectors worldwide who collect emerging artists. Okay, so I believe you're wanting to sell hard copy art on a subscription basis. That's actually not a bad idea. I don't know if webinars would be the vehicle or not. Probably you would need to test long form sales letters as well. Interestingly enough, I was just reading about this through a blog on a company called Recurly, which is all about subscription revenue, because our business is subscription. Our membership is our entire business. Our entire world is this membership. We love it. And so I'm all into learning all new types of things. And subscription stuff is not limited just to information. You probably all know about all these boxes, there's boxes for people who love reefer, there's boxes for people who love sex toys, and you get a box of stuff every month. Now that has elevated even to the high end. So there is a $25,000 per quarter box of cool stuff, and it's advertised as, this stuff is real cool. You can't get it anywhere else. We're not even going to tell you what it is. There's even a $100,000 per quarter level for that service. The subscription company is blanking. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. There's another one for jewelry. Hyundai has just created a subscription model, which I believe they're rolling out this year in 2017, where you just pay monthly for an electric car made by Hyundai. That monthly subscription includes charges, unlimited miles, and it's a fixed term. There's no down payment. There's no stopping payment. It's just I'm signing up for a 2-year membership to have this Hyundai electric car thing. So with all of that taken into consideration, I believe that fine art is likely sellable on a subscription basis. Probably webinar in the traditional sense of what you just saw from me wouldn't be it. It would probably need to be a more direct to camera, showing the piece, interviewing the artist, showing the pieces in various settings, etc. A lot more visual than what I saw. And if that didn't work, probably J. Peterman style catalog copy delivered in long form. Very long answers to your questions here today. I'm a little rambler. Okay, Christopher has a good question. He says, going back earlier in the webinar, can you elaborate on how you should have built the dog training business? Yeah, I was totally stupid. So I built that dog training business, and I'm selling, like, really having very good success with it. And doing exactly what I just said was very difficult, which was very difficult. It was selling, I was driving traffic to a web page, selling something for $47. That was the end of it. And it was profitable. It would have been exponentially more profitable had I, number one, introduced continuity into it. People with dogs love their dogs. Like, we've got this little Cavalier King Charles Spaniel dog named Charlie Murphy that our family is insane over. And the best thing you could sell to people like us is some sort of a continuity program, whether it be treats every month. Like, I would definitely sign up for that, because he eats these damn duck patties that, I'm telling you, this annoys me. This dog is so spoiled, but these little duck patties, he only eats those, and he wants them constantly. And we run out, I got to drive all the way to this place by Whole Foods, get them. I would totally sign up to have something like that. Vitamins and pet care stuff. We don't have to, we're very fortunate that our dog is healthy. But people buy like mixable powders that you can sprinkle onto the food to help the dogs preventatively, as well as symptomatically, to help things like allergies and things like that. There's pet insurance. Bottom line is, I'd have sold them more stuff, because most of them like the training. They liked it. They're like, oh, it's pretty good. It helped me get my dog to stop digging holes and barking and stuff. What else you got? And they self-identified as dog lovers who buy things. So that's what I would have done for sure. And I would have rented the list if it weren't in violation of any terms and conditions. So I'd have updated my privacy policy to make that cool, but I'd have definitely rented the list out as well to direct mail, because pet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I was lazy. But yeah, hindsight 2020. But my self-identity was survivor, so I acted like a survivor. Oh, Ron says, if we're already in Inner Circle, do we get access to the path? Yes. And as you probably know, maybe, I know I inundate you guys with stuff, you also have the golden ticket. So everyone who's a member can get everything of mine that they want. There is no, hey, you got to get the new thing or whatever. Any of my body of work that any member wants is available to you. The only catch is, I can only give you one of them every month. And the reason why is I don't want you to get 20 of my trainings and then you're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, no one should try to go through that in 1 month. And it's awful. So all you got to do is write Tyler and say, hey, dude, I want to, Inner Circle member. I want access to whatever this is. Boom, you're good. Next month, you want something else? It's yours. No problem. There's no hassle. You literally write us. That's why I have a team. So you don't have to jump through a lot of hoops. He'll hook you up. So all members get the path. All current members get the path. And all current members get the continuity training that I'll release later in the month as well on how I built the membership, because there's a specific model. So here I am just having a conversation with a member. Sorry, but members, I'm telling you, they get a lot of priority. Okay. Nice, dude. Thanks for being a member, by the way. Okay, so got Mike. Dave says, how will, they moved around. How will I know what I'm worth in money? Get out of the way, thing. It has the word broadcast question over it. Dang it, dude. This is something with, get off there. Dave, it won't, there's a thing over where it says broadcast question, so I can't see your question. It's bizarre. It says, how will I know what I'm worth in money for my prospects? And then it's blacked out. What is my value? I think he's asking, how do I figure out how much I can charge? You need to go through Freedom Multiplier. If you're a member and you write Tyler and say, please give me Freedom Multiplier training, actually just ask him to give you client acquisition system access, and he'll give it to you. And you go through the very first training in week 1 of client acquisition, and it helps you determine, it's a formulaic process to determine your value in a services environment. So basically, long story short, you say, okay, if I can only get paid after my client got results, what characteristics would that client have to have in order for me to take them? And that then tells you who your perfect client is. Then you say, okay, if I got that client and I can only get paid after they got results, what are the 3 things I would do for them to ensure they got results as fast as humanly possible so I could get my money? That tells you, the answer to that question tells you your most valuable work, your greatest possible contribution, and then you assign a value to that. And I tell you, you just really choose whatever you want to charge for it, and they'll either buy it or not. I know there's supposed to be like some deep answer, but I've always used the rectal extraction method for pricing. I'd be like, well, it's going to cost $42,000, $48,640. Yes. And it either works or it doesn't, you know, I mean, I don't obsess on it. I recommend you just start selling it and see what happens. They'll either say yes or no, and you proceed accordingly. Okay. Dale says, how long after we sign up for the Inner Circle will we see the welcome kit? I enrolled 3 weeks ago and haven't seen anything yet. Immediately, Dale, right? Support at Frank Kern Help Desk. We have them for this very reason. We have them in the office. We use a fulfillment center called disc.com, but we also keep a stash of them in our office, and they will FedEx you one today from San Diego. So please support at frankkernhelpdesk.com. Thanks for letting me know. Give them your last name, everything, so we can yell at the appropriate people. But more importantly, you'll have this sucker tomorrow. But you got to let us know today where to send it. So support at frankkernhelpdesk.com. We'll take care of you. All right. Now, another fella, Dave said, can you help me in reviewing on your calls, on your video conferences, my website during the live session in German? My target markets are roofers, painters in Germany. I can't because I can't understand German, even though our family is German. I don't speak the language. So I can help you structurally talk about the offer, but I can't critique the copy because I don't speak the language. That's a good target market, by the way. The services industry is good. Okay. Julia says, do you get to review everyone's landing page's copy during Wednesday's video, or do you limit it to a few reviews at a given time? Do you review the changes? It just comes in. So here's what we do every week. We say, hey, if you want to be on the call, let us know. And everyone who wants to be on, well, actually not everyone. So if the question is like not well thought out, or they don't actually have anything to give us to review, we'll say, hey, you need to get some numbers or something so I can help you. But typically, yeah, anyone who needs their stuff reviewed, I get on there and we review it. Our calls are about 2 hours typically every other Wednesday. And if you miss a call, by the way, I give you the recordings, and we have a private members only Facebook group. So I mail you the recordings every month, and we post the recordings in your Facebook group. So all of your homies are in there too. It's really cool. Like, our membership is awesome. And it's not me, which is great. I mean, I drive it, I'm there, I write everything, but I'm telling you, I am like the least cool person in the Kern Inner Circle. The other members are where you will get a tremendous amount of your value from. You'll see. Watch. You get in that Facebook group, and I'll be like, I told you so. You'll be like, Frank, you know what? These people are significantly cooler than you. And I'll say, I know. It's awesome. So yes, short answer is, yeah, we haven't had a backup problem yet, but that's why we don't have 1 billion members in there. Okay. Martina says, how long would it take to get the newsletter here in Germany? I don't know, probably a couple extra days, but we haven't had anyone fussing. Like, about 35% of our people are in the country of Europe. I know it's not really a country. And it seems to get there in a timely fashion. So not significantly too long. We also put digital stuff in the, not members area, in the Facebook group for you. So you can actually get it downloadable as well. But I do mail it to you because most people never pay attention to what's downloadable. You got to have it, you know? So anyway, then she says, would the advice you give in the Inner Circle also work in Germany, since things work a lot different over here? I think so. It seems to. I've got members and customers from Germany, and they're happy. I've never been there, so I can't say, well, let me tell you about Germany. But human buying drivers are human buying drivers. Like, we all are wired exactly the same. Offer structures are offer structures. Direct response is direct response. So probably my advice to you is to try it. And if you find that to be unsatisfactory, you're not stuck. We're not going to try to talk you out of it. You know, we let the value speak for itself. And if you don't find it valuable, it's okay. So give it a whirl. I'm very confident you'll like it, but I don't want to blanket say, yes, everything is perfect, I'm a genius. You know, I'm pretty confident, but without knowing exactly what you're selling, you know, I'm more comfortable saying, let's see, than absolutely. Okay. Neil says, Mark, I live in Switzerland, and he gets it fine. So he was answering how long does it take to get it in the country of Europe? Members in Switzerland. Awesome. Ash said, did I read The Untethered Soul? I did not. Mark says, do I send stuff to UK? Yes. Thank you for your kind words, David. Jim enrolled last month. He's going through high-level fellowship. Awesome. Is the plan also included the path? Yes, it is. Members, as members, current members, you literally get everything I've got. It's that you just please don't get all of it at once. I don't think it's going to be productive for you. But you have the golden ticket. So anything you want. Tyler, just support at Frank Kern Help Desk. Hey, dude, can I have access to this? If you're a member in good standing, the answer is always yes. Only thing restricted from that is professional services, where I would actually like write your sales letter for you, or, you know, the things where people come to my home, like that costs more, but anything else is yours. Members are our entire business. This is what all we do as members. So let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Let me scroll down here. All right. Okay. I think I'm looking at older questions. All right, I got you, Dave. Okay, I'm going to take one more, and then I'm going to get a little bit of lunch. Oh, check this out. Randy says, guys, the inner circle is so, in all caps, worth it. I've gotten everything I need to accomplish for 2017 and beyond. Highly recommend it. Thank you, Randy. Sweet, dude. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Well, you know, we try pretty damn hard. I'd love to say like, hey, well, you know, we're just really that good. But we put a shitload of work into making this membership good. And we take a tremendous amount of pride in it. So it makes me very happy that you say that, Randy. Thank you very, very much. That is awesome. Okay. What am I looking for? Rita says, what NLP books do you read? I don't read any because they're too damn hard. I mostly read trash. So like right now I'm reading Lee Child's Night School, part of the Jack Reacher series. 99% of what I read is trash fiction, and I read it deliberately, number one, because I like it. And number two, I can rationalize it by saying it helps me write copy better. So my logic is, if this is what sells the most, right? So trash fiction, popular fiction outsells just about everything else in the world, then in terms of literature, I mean, you know, obviously. So if this is what people buy, it makes sense to learn how to write in the same fashion that people are buying. So I read it, you know, ostensibly to become a better writer, but really because I enjoy it. I don't read very many business books at all. I do a lot of Audible, though. So I'll listen, strangely, I can listen to business books while I'm lifting weights or whatever. I don't really read them very much. Okay. All right. And Ron, yes, you get access to the content as a member. I think you already got that, though. Okay. I think we done got them, guys. So that's it. I'm going to eat. So I'm going to go eat lunch and I'm going to get to work. Hopefully a lot of y'all joined, and let's see how many people we still have on here. This is amazing. Good Lord, 378 people are still here. All right. Y'all got to get to work. We both do. It's the 2nd of January, man. Let's get cracking. I hope this helped you. I really do. I'm going to teach it again at 4 o'clock. I'm going to do this webinar again live at 4. So I got 2.5 hours. I'm going to review it, see if I can cut some pieces out. I don't know. Practice makes perfect, I guess. So this is a good first pass. Thanks for being my guinea pigs on this thing. Hope you found it helpful. And I hope you have a great year. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. I love doing these webinars for you. So I'll do another one soon. In fact, at 4 o'clock, if you want to come. Okay, y'all, take it easy. I'll see you later.